Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Saturday afternoon stream. It's August 17th. It's 2 p.m. Um, yeah, thought I'd stream and talk about nationals, talk about my lat deck and the egg infusion deck. Yeah, and just kind of hang out. Not too much going on between now and Worlds. There's any NPC Montreal that I know is, I think, next weekend. And then we're kind of just like waiting for a ban list update. Personally, I'm not gonna be able to make it out to any NPC Montreal, so it's been kind of slow in the Netrunner world for me personally, because I play as tournaments show up. So, but it's nice. It's good to take a little bit of a break and focus on some other things. There we go. Yeah, hope everyone's doing well. And I mean, yeah, we'll just jump into it. I mean, I guess I'll share this. I got a job for next year, so I know where I'm going to be. For those who are probably in the BC area, who might know where Abbotsford is, but I'll be in Abbotsford next year. It'll mean nothing to 95% of the people who are probably watching this. But yeah, I figured out a law firm that I'm going to start for at least the first couple years of my career. And we'll see how things go. Hey, how's it going, Zahya? Yeah, there's a bit of a delay on my chat for some reason. Okay, anyways, let's talk about what's going on. Oh, sorry about that. So let's. I guess I'll start with this. So in the last couple weekends, there was East Coast Nationals, which I went to defend Wiki's title, who won it last year. There's an Abbotsford in Australia. That's funny. I mean, they reuse names all the time, it seems. But unfortunately, I won't be going to Abbotsford in Australia. Abbotsford is like a little city that's it's about an hour drive east of Vancouver. It's a nice community. It's like close enough to the Vancouver proper, and it's not like right in there. So I feel like it's a good balance. It'll be a good place to start. Yeah. Good evening. How's it going, Andrea? So yeah, let's talk about the tournaments. So I played in East Coast Nationals. Had a pretty solid Swiss in 8 rounds of Swiss. I won the first 5 rounds, so I was 5-0. We played in the 6th round. This was very interesting. Like, there's such an interesting. Let's talk about just like double-sided Swiss versus single-sided Swiss for a second, because that's just, I feel like it really highlights the difference. If we go to something happened in. This was German Nationals. Here we go. So, in German Nationals, you could make the cut. So people at 21 points were at 7 wins and 3 losses, because it was 5 rounds of double-sided Swiss. People at 21 points were 7 wins and 3 losses. And there were 3 people at 21 who made it, and there were 4 people at 21 who didn't make it. And usually if you if you start IDing early, like if you win the first couple rounds and ID, then like your SOS is going to be better than somebody who started not as good and then they swept their way up. And 21 points is if you sweep the first 2 rounds and go 4-0, then you can ID the other 3 and you'd finish 7-3 and you would finish at 21 points. Now, for me at East Coast Nationals, I won the first 5 rounds, so I was at 15 points, and in round 6, I was the only one at 5-0. So I was paired up against Gordy, who was 4-1, and 4-1 wasn't safe to ID yet. So So we had to play, and then Gordy beat me. It was a great game. There was he like Gordy had a cataloger, and I went and bluffed this spin doctor in a remote with a Lacosta grid, and I started putting an advancement counter on the spin doctor with Lacosta grid, and Gordy went and cataloger ran and saw 3 cards, and then I res the spin doctor, drew 2 agendas, and then he clicked the cataloger to steal the 3rd agenda that he saw off the cataloger. So that happened. But yeah, so we lost that, and then in round 7, round 8, we found the people to ID with, so that gets us into a 2nd place. Payu had 2. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Some people I've heard say it with the L, but I don't know. My understanding of some French and other languages tell me that the L's shouldn't be pronounced. Anyways, Payu played the last round because Payu lost to me in round 5, lost in round 6, and then won in round 7, and then had to play in round 8 because Payu was the only player who was paired down. Oh, actually, no. Payu wasn't even paired down. Table 4 was a pairing of people who were at 5 wins, and Payu's opponent declined the ID. So this match had to go on. Payu won, and that was the player that finished above me. Ended up playing against Payu in the finals. I was very scared of both of these decks, and I mean, I see them again, these decks, in the following tournament next weekend. Will I be commuting there or living there? I will be living there. It's tough. It's like a 45 1-hour drive. And I love driving, but living in Vancouver is more expensive than Abbotsford, and the only benefit of living in Vancouver is that I can go to the weekly Netrunner meetups, which is a great benefit. But I think I'd rather drive an hour to go to the weekly meetups if that's what I'm looking to do. So I will be living there. And then Wiki is may or may not be joining me. We'll see what her job situation or plan for next year looks like, and we're currently trying to figure that out. Yeah, so some solid cut games. I took a win against Ranji. Some people have heard about this. So I took a win against Ranji in the 3rd round of the cut. This was winners finals, where Ranji turn 1 ran into Saisentan, and then I hit all of his cards, and then he ran a different remote, he ran HQ, which had an unresed ice, and he forgot about the egg boop, and I egg boop him into Saisentan. I was like, yeah, we'll take what we can get. We're here to defend a title. So we defend a title, and then we proceed on to next weekend, which is Cascadia in Seattle, which is West Coast U.S. Nationals. This one was, and I'm feeling kind of like a little bit of self pressure this whole time, because I've always won every nationals I've attended, and I wanted to keep that going, especially considering that nationals isn't going to be a thing next year. So yeah, nationals isn't going to be a thing next year. So I was like, okay, we got to keep this win streak going. The unseen boop is the deadliest. Yeah, he I don't know, for those who know Ranji and like have played against him, he's like an ex-pro poker player, right? And he's got this like very serious look about him, and he like stares you down, and it's super intimidating, and I love it, and it's like amazing to watch, and it's, you know, it's hard to play against, and he like, you know, he was like doing his thing, being very formal, and then like when I picked up the ice to boop him to R&D, like you're like, oh, you know, like the whole like setup about him was like kind of fell apart there, and he was like, oh no, like I forgot about that. So that was a good moment to see. Ranji must have been shucking his feet. Yeah. That's good. He knows, like, you know, he's been playing for a long time. Like, he's been a top player for a very long time. I've played against him in lots of finals, in lots of cuts. And yeah, he's like, I think he knows that, like, you know, that's like, he like made a mistake there. Shouldn't have done that. And you kick yourself for a bit, but he picked himself up, played really well in the next game, which was it was like Iceless Kill NEH against Tag Me Freedom, which is, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not playing in that matchup, and I just get to watch. And he almost got the kill against Payu, but like just kept hit a steel skin the turn after Payu drew it. So yeah, and then we go to Cascadia. Cascadia was interesting. We played 9 rounds of single-sided Swiss. I didn't decline any IDs except for like I played the first 6 rounds, which was totally like had to be played, and then around 7 and 8 I play against a brick, and we just like it wasn't like totally sure if we could ID or not, but like in hindsight we totally could have. But I was like, I don't know, like we're here to play. We both kind of like we're like we don't really mind, so we played. I swept, so that was round 7 and round 8. A brick got paired against me in round 8, which is really unlucky because at this point I was 7-0 and a brick was 6-1, and Man in the Moon was also 6-1. So, I guess it wasn't super unlucky, but like it was kind of unlucky that he paired against me again. And then in round 9, I am, and this is so interesting because like single-sided Swiss created this, is that in round 9 I was 8-0, so I was at 24 points, and Man in the Moon was 7-1, so he was at 21 points, and everybody else was at 18 or 19, and everybody at 18 or 19 was probably going to ID, which is what they did. So that was Penguin, Payu, Solomir, and Tak. They all ID'd, which meant that Man in the Moon at 21 points was secured second place no matter what happened in his final round, because people at 18 and 19 were going to ID and go to 19 or 20. So if he ID'd, he would have been second. If he played the game and lost, he would have been second, which is what happened here. He was at 21 points. He played the game and I won. And if he had won, I would have stayed at 24 and he would have gone to 24 and he would have beaten me on SOS probably, is what it looks like. So if he won the game, he would have finished first and I would have finished second, and every other result would have been I finished first, he finishes second. So like there was no reason for him to actually ID with me, which is, crazy for that situation to arise. And I wanted to play the game out because I was like, I want to play every round. Like I'm already at 8-0. Let's see if we can make it 9. My only small risk to me is I finish second instead of first. So it was all top half of cut anyways. So that was that. And then we played the cut. I had a game against Payu in round 2 that I should not have won. Got super lucky. Basically I had a Nisei. There was no points scored. I was playing Egg Infusion. I had a Nisei in the remote with 2 advancement counters, and Payu comes and runs HQ, and I felt that HQ was safe, but turns out it wasn't. And Payu comes and runs HQ, and it's click. Like I use Egg Infusion on one of the clicks, so essentially there's a run coming in on click 3, and I have no more tricks. And there's a run coming in on click 3, and there's a double advanced Nisei in the remote, and my hand is 3 agendas, Hansei, Subliminal. And I'll throw this out there, is that the turn before, I could have clicked for a credit on one of my clicks, but instead I chose to draw, and I drew into the Subliminal, and then I chose not to play it. So whether or not you want to say that's like making your own luck, I think that's like a little bit of it, was that I chose to draw, chose not to play the Subliminal. But the point is, my hand was 3 agendas, Hansei, Subliminal, and 3 agendas, Hansei, Subliminal, and Payu comes in, accesses Hansei, spends 5 virus counters trashing it. Oh, by the way, there's a Hermes installed. Okay, that's why there's this Nisei in the remote with 2 counters is important, because we steal an agenda, we bounce the Nisei, I straight lose the game. And Payu accesses the Hansei, Freedom trashes it, gets the Solidarity Badge counter, gets the, uses the once per turn Freedom ability, and I'm like, please don't run again, please don't run again, please don't run again, please don't run again. And Payu's like, click 4, run HQ, And I remember closing my eyes as I shuffle my cards and present them, and Payu picks out the subliminal on the 1 and 4, misses the 3 other agendas, doesn't bounce the Nisei in the remote with the Hermes, and then, okay, the story gets better because now I have no ice on HQ because it got in the process of running. There was an Anansi that got Devil Charm crewed, so there's now no ice on HQ and there's no ice in hand. But there's 3 unres dice on R&D, or sorry, on the remote, and there's 2 unres dice on R&D. And I go mandatory draw, and we draw like a La Costa grid, which is useless because there's already one in the remote. And so the La Costa puts a 3rd counter on the Nisei. So now the turn is advance the Nisei, score, mandatory Hermes trigger. So the Hermes has to bounce one of the ice on the board, and then I install that ice on HQ, and then I put a new agenda in the remote. And then we go on to win the game from there. And yeah, crazy game. Crazy game. Yeah, that's like very. I think that's just like a clear example of just I don't know, the national gods holding me up. I'll answer the question in a minute, Ziat. Let me finish this, but thank you for your question. By the way, like, yeah, please, throughout all of this, like, please ask me questions. So it kind of gives me a direction and where you'd like me to talk. And then in round 3, I'm like, I'm feeling good, but like, you kind of feel like you've won a game that you shouldn't have won. So you're like, we're already doing better than I should. Okay. And then we play against Solomir and Thule, and on turn 1, I go install Parisha, run something else, play creative, lat draw, and I have 4 cards. And then he, on his turn, he goes install 3, and he's like fired a Rashida on turn 1. And he goes install 3, and I go install Anacam, Laundry Archives. And the reason I do that is because like there was like an overwrite on the second turn, so like it looked like there was an agenda in Archives, and I just wanted to get that out of there. Yeah, so I wanted to make him use a Spin Doctor. So I Laundry Archives, I got 3 cards in hand, and I've got 2 clicks left, and I've got this Parisha, and I'm like, I want to spend these Parisha dollars, and he just installed a couple remotes. So I go run one of the remotes on click 3, and I access False Lead, and now I have to take a core or spend a click and 2 credits. So I spend a click and 2 credits, and some of you may have noticed that means I end my turn with 3 cards in hand, and on turn 2, he had Distributed Tracing end of the line, and I died. So that was the round 3 winners finals loss against Solomir. And then in round 5, 6, and 7, these 3 games are on stream. You can see all of these at Sindarin's Twitch, I hope is still there. Yeah. They're all here. Bye. So all of this is streamed on Sindarin's Twitch. And I don't know when these will be removed, so if you do intend to watch them, do so soonish. And I believe Alec will be saving them and posting them on YouTube, or saving them some other way. But these are here for I'm not sure how long. But my final 3 games are on the Twitch, and was on stream. Yeah. So go check that out. There's some good games, especially the final game. The final game was like really grindy because Solomir played it really aggressively, so I had to play really defensively, and it was like really like we were both clicking for credits and playing really slow because I had to manage all the threats that he was pressing me on. Yeah, the helpful Hermes. One small blessing of a turn 2 loss, being able to take a break and reset before the next game. Yeah, totally. But okay, this is probably a good story to tell. There's Clayton, who's a local player in Vancouver, and he shows up to all of our weekly meetups and stuff, and he was there in Cascadia, and on the second day he was helping run the computer and enter match results, And he said we were staying in the same Airbnb, and he told me that after I lost to Joe, like it was like less than 10 minutes, right? After I lost to Joe, I sat there at the table. Joe, you know, Joe didn't leave especially quickly, right? Like, you stay around, you talk a little bit, you slowly pack up your stuff, and you kind of wander off. And I sat there for probably like 10 or 15 minutes, just like looking at the ceiling and like thinking. And he was like, it's so crazy to watch you just sit there and just like thinking of, like, I don't know what you were thinking about, but you were just sitting there and thinking. And yeah, that was interesting to like hear somebody like describe what I looked like at that time, just like sitting there and thinking about life. What I was thinking about was, like, had I thought about distributed tracing end of the line, which I didn't. Like, it was just, I had just missed that. Like, I didn't think that was something that I had to deal with. Like, obviously I knew, but it just like it didn't come up in my mind at that moment. And I was thinking to myself, if it did come up to my mind, would I still have made the same play? So had I thought about, okay, I might die to distributed tracing end of the line because I have 3 cards in hand and that might be an agenda on the table. Like, would I still take that risk, or would I just not run? I think it's super close. I think the conclusion is I shouldn't have ran, but I think it's really close. Gordy, hi. How's it going? I was just telling chat earlier about our match. Your cat, my spin doctor bluff and your cataloger hitting 3 agendas. Okay, going back a little bit, Zahya was asking about my assessment on the Man in the Moon PD matchup. Should be fine with Clot. Yes, that's exactly it. I don't know if I want to pull that up. I mean, I can pull it up. Let's talk about it. So if we go to NetRunDB and go to PD. So this deck is like, I think this deck has got a really good matchup. Like Lat has a good matchup into this. And I think Lat has I've improved the PD matchup a lot as Lat already. And I think this PD is especially not great into the Lat build. And I mean, you can see, to give another shout out, if we go to YouTube and go to Neon Static, this is like, you can watch a good video of me playing this matchup in the latest Neon Static video. This is the first round of the top cut in East Coast Nationals, where I played against Analyze Chris, and Analyze Chris was playing this PD deck. Now, I was not playing Clut in East Coast Nationals. I was playing Cupulation and Fermenter. So, and the matchup was still fine. But I think Clot locks it up. So like, I guess let's talk about it. So the Lat deck is really good at contesting remotes, and it's really good at running when you need to run, and it is up to the player to determine when you need to run. The PD, normal PD, has Skunk Void, and you need to add, there's very complex decision making there, because if there's multiple unresed upgrades on the remote, you don't know which one to pinhole, because you always want to pinhole the Void. So then that complicates things a lot, because do you just pinhole and hope you hit the Void, and then if you miss, you just have to deal with it? Or do you run the remote once, waste resources just for the purposes of determining which one is the Void, and then pinholing the Void? And usually I do the second one. Usually I like try to figure it out and then pinhole it if I can, right? Just because that one's like the less variance line. But it's all depends on the board state. But in this deck, we don't play Void, which I think simplifies it a ton. Now, like, for some reason the deck plays Tatu Bola. Personally, I don't understand this, but I also have not tested or played this deck. I've only played against it. But personally, I don't understand why this deck plays Tatu Bola. Just play one Void and no Tatu. And that, to me, makes a lot more sense. But anyways, because this deck has no Void, this deck for me becomes so much easier to play against because I know that there's no void in this remote ever. The only thing I have to think about is Skunkworks. So I can keep the remote fully in check at all times. As long as like I open the game with Anacam and I have a reasonable flow of econ events. And I have like, I think if the PD deck and the lat deck both have an average draw, the lat deck will beat this PD like 100% of the time because you can just keep the remote on lock. And that was my plan in this game that was shown here on Neon Static, where I played against Analyze Chris on this PD. Mind you, I played against Analyze Chris round 1 as well, and it was the same matchup where I played lat against PD, and this was me going into the matchup blind without knowing what the PD was doing, and he didn't know what my deck was doing. And like I didn't have Clot, and I think that game plan is already solid, but with Clot, I don't see how PD wins this game. Again, given an average draw on both sides. There was a game that was streamed that I think is no longer on Twitch, but if you did catch it live, I played against Man in the Moon in the final round of Cascadia, and I think the first half of this game was streamed, and then the stream cut out. And this game, I had a suboptimal draw. Like, I think I opened, like, I didn't have Anacam in the opening. My tempo was a little weird. And, like, I ended up making some runs that were very well laid baits by Man in the Moon, that I fell for. And I still end up pulling it out, but, like, I think, like, certain things needed to go my way at the end of the game. So, like, this game was, like, rather scrappier because of those opening difficulties. But I think on average, like, you should stay on top of this PD. And then the Clot definitely locks it down. Because you can't, like, for those who, like, to understand what I'm talking about, you can't big deal through Clot. Usually what you do, let's say we're trying to fast events with Audacity, you go install, a 3-2. You go install, advance, and then your opponent can Clot in that window after the first advancement, after the second click. And if they do Clot, then you, on your click 3, you can spend your click, and then you get the paidability window to resin pop Mavericks. And you can purge with Mavericks and then score. And that's like the same paidability window, which comes immediately after you spend your click. But Big Deal doesn't work that way because Big Deal is terminal. And because Big Deal ends your action phase, you can't score anymore after you play Big Deal. But Big Deal itself says you may score that card if able. So it is Big Deal that is allowing you to score the agenda, which means there is no paidability window there for you to Mavericks. So, and that makes a big difference because if I Clot at the end of click 2, you have to Mavericks at the end of click 2, which means I get to simulchip the Clot still at the end of click 2. Which means for you to Mavericks my Clot, you need to have a number of Mavericks on the board equal to the number of copies of Clot and simulchip I have on the board, which is just not happening. Also, the deck we're looking at right now doesn't play Mavericks, but Analyze Chris did have Mavericks in his version, and I think this deck probably should play a Mavericks, but the Clot is just like, you just can't deal with Clot in Big Deal decks, which is usually the case in Big Deal decks anyways. VGC spotted. VGC. I'm gonna need an explanation on what VGC stands for. I'm bad at this. But yeah, there's no Mavericks in this list anyways. But I think like there were a number of decks that did play Mavericks, and also I think Man in the Moon's list at Cascadia did play Mavericks. Yeah, okay. So that's that. Give me 1 second here. I'm just gonna take my hoodie off. Which two of the cup fermenter clot choices do you play in the next few weeks before a ban list update? I mean, the answer is I don't plan on. There's no like tournament that I'm looking at in the next few weeks. It's tough to like come up with a general thing. I think my short answer is copulation and clot is my short answer, and then you don't play fermenter. The long answer is you got to prep for who you're playing for. So I expected at Cascadia, at West Coast US Nationals, for there to be more decks where clot was relevant. And I expected there to be less like asset spam. In the pure asset spam matchups, you want the fermenter because your programs usually aren't needed, and you just want to like SMC for fermenter, and you like keep recurring this fermenter after it gets to 4 or 5. And I was expecting clot to be more useful, and I also expected that I would need the cupulation HQ multi-access because I'm going to be seeing some slower decks. I'm going to be seeing some more egg infusions, and against egg infusion, you want the cupulation just because it's a pseudo legwork. VGC is a Pokemon Worlds on my YouTube recommendations. It's going on right now. Oh, okay. Yeah, my YouTube recommendations is I don't use my like Sokka YouTube channel for watching things. Because I have YouTube Premium on my personal YouTube. So I use that. And if you don't have YouTube Premium and you like to watch YouTube, it's so nice. It's so nice. You can download things. I've never seen an ad in the last 2 years. Like, oh man, I remember those days where I like open a YouTube channel and then there's 2 30-second ads and then I have to deal with that. I'm so happy to be away from that. Jack Made, first time catching stream. Hey, how's it going? Your pronunciation of Mavericks throws me off so much. Is it Mavirus? Now I need to show this. Jack Made, have you seen this? This is I believe it was Phil who made this, but maybe it was somebody else. But this is a Mavirus. This is a Mavirus, and it's got the M apostrophe on there. And then it's the whale with a bunch of hats. It's so funny. I love this. I think you mean copulation is a better legwork versus egg infusion. Oh, you're right. Also, hey Chris. You're right. Actually, yeah, copulation is a better legwork against egg infusion. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you're totally right. I remember that someone asked the scientist that named the Mavericks how it's pronounced. Yeah, I saw that video. I don't remember what the answer was, but I did watch that video. I think it was Neon Static. Who did that, and I watched that. And they replied, but I don't remember what the answer was. Yeah. Yeah. So that got us to here. So I posted my lists on the 9th, which was 8 days ago. And we're here. This is like the version of the deck right now that I really like. I really, really like this version of the deck. It was Neon Static. Yeah. It was Mavirus with a strong German accent. I was just gonna like try it, but I'm not going to. One of the funnest games that I've played in the Netrunner context, like not a Netrunner game, but like just like random friend game. When I went to Austria, like last year when I went on my Europe trip and we met up with the unbanned people in Austria, I was sitting with Rust Rider and we found a bunch of Netrunner cards and a lot of them were in German. And we played a game where, because I don't know German, obviously, and Rust Rider does. So we played a game where I would pick out a random Netrunner card, and they were all rotated, basically. I pick up a random Netrunner card and I try to read the name of the card in German. And I try to read the name, and then Rust Rider needs to tell me what the card is in English. That was really fun. It was really, really fun. Because keep in mind, like, these are not like standard legal cards. Like, they're all rotated cards. The one that I remember that I took a video of is Geschwür. And Geschwür is German for fester. And fester is a rotated Anarch card. So that one was really funny. Geschwür? I think that was the better pronunciation. It's got like an upward inflection to it. It's like Geschwür. This lap deck feels so lean on econ. It's a challenge to pick up. You were right. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I think one thing that you have to get used to is like it's lean on hard cash. Like it's lean. It's not light. Okay. Like I think Andre like counted out how many econ cards there are in here, and that's fair. But like if we do a count, I wasn't totally paying attention, but I think he counted 15. So like, I mean, I'll just do a count now. So there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 12, 13, 14. There's 14, 3, 6, 7, 8, 11, 14. So there's 14 econ events, but like, you have to remember that like, efficient card draw is also econ. If you don't have to click to draw and you're like your cards are flowing, that is also econ. And 15 because of Telework Contract. And like the deck in my mind, a lot of it is econ. Like Diesel is econ, Anacam is econ, Hannah is econ because Hannah you spend a click to run a remote and you gain that click back. Stone Ship Chat Room is just a wash because you're just spending it to draw 2 cards, if that's what you're doing. And then Parisha is econ. So like you just have to know what you need to deal with. The breakers are really efficient, and that is also econ. It's not econ. So like I take that back. It's not econ, but like it saves you money because the breakers are really efficient. And as long as you know when to run and how often to run, and you can like deal with the fact that you have limited breaking ability, it's super strong. When you're up against decks where you need to break ice, your breakers are efficient. When you're up against decks where you need to trash things, you need to prioritize getting your Parisha installed. Or you need to prioritize like getting Cupulation down so that you can use Cupulation to save yourself some money too. Or you need to make sure you run the right things, or you get your Hannah down and you can save clicks when you run, or you can overclock and trick shot and like combine that econ into setting up your board and trashing your opponents. And it's really lean and it makes it really fun. Geschwür. Poor Rust Rider. It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I think I can start here. There's also the Egg Infusion. Oh, I guess I can pull up the write-up. So there's also the Egg Infusion. The Egg Infusion is, I think we've seen that quite a bit. There's some interesting developments in the Egg Infusion, I feel. I've started growing into the sprints a lot more. I feel like the sprint allows you to sculpt your hand. That is really valuable. It can let you sit on Charlotte for an extra few turns. Sometimes, which is really necessary. And the one change that I've made recently is putting in the rhyme and cutting out the Mavericks. The Mavericks is useful. So sometimes you do miss it, but the rhyme is really threatening against like especially the World Tree Aries and like most of the decks that play Turbine. Is all the decks that play Turbine have like really bad breakers in terms of boosting. So they kind of rely on the base strength of the breakers plus the Turbine, and like maybe if they have to break a Bran and they have a Cleaver, they have to pay 2 to boost and then 2 to break. But especially against the Sentries, like you're up against Echelon, Cleaver, Buzzsaw, and Turbine, so the Echelon has 5 strength. Like, a lot of the times World Tree Ari will, like, run, or, like, any Turbine deck will run, and they don't exactly have 6 credits for Anansi. They might have 3 to 5, and the Rhyme is going to make the Anansi fire, because this just, in addition to its own sub costing the runner 1, it's going to boost the Anansi to 6 strength, or it's going to boost the Brand to 7 strength. It's like, it's going to boost a strength somewhere where you don't expect it. And I found a lot of the times, like, once you get into the scoring mode, you don't have too much money to add ice onto your servers. But adding a Rhyme is only just a click and an install cost, which is sometimes significant, but at least it's 0 to res, and it is a pretty big tax when you can it all out. So it's a cool, fun include. Okay. Let's start with lat. I feel like I would like to play some lat games because I think some people want to see some lat games being played. I heard here. I'll stop talking and like get this going first, and then we'll come back to it. Is that fine? That's fine. Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. Okay, wait. How do I... I'm trying to put the deck list up. Oh, this is Larea, I think. Let me pull up the deck lists. There we go. Okay, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking with some people who there was somebody who was new when I was at Cascadia. There was somebody who recently started playing the game, and they picked up the lat, and they were really trying to learn it. And they were just like, I feel like I need to watch this deck get played. So I'm hoping that that's what today's stream can do. Okay, so this hand is fine. If we mulligan into this, we would be fine. But like, there's 2 straight dead cards here. There's Deep Dive, and there's like Revolver, which we don't really want. Like, Revolver's okay. Hannah is also okay, but we kind of want draw. So we're gonna throw this out. And we're gonna try to find an Anacam and a Dirty Laundry, which is just exactly what you're looking for. Also with Rhyme, you can tattoo swap and res Rhyme after they pass through the same run. Yeah. Usually people don't like math that out. If all your ice is res and one of it's a tattoo, they usually don't math out like, okay, if that's a Rhyme, like if the tattoo becomes a Rhyme, then it adds to the cost of the server, and usually people don't think about that. 1, 2, 3. We always want to try to get lat draw, and I'm trying to figure out if we want to run this server. We did mulligan. Ooh. Maybe we don't. If it's Gatekeeper, that's like... no, let's run it. Just not Gatekeeper. Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's really good. Okay, so now we go Anacam, Laundry HQ. And then we'll draw last click for the 5 cards, unless we steal an agenda, which we didn't. So we found a brand, it's good to know. And we'll just get our cards up. This hand is like scary because we have like a bunch of programs, which is not what we want. We want some more money, some more draw, but it's okay. We can work with it. We've got the telework contract. We don't have an Anacam trigger for this turn, which is a little bit sad. And we're clicking a telework, which is fine. So I would lean towards just installing our cards here, and we don't even play the diesel. So I just go telework, click it. Do we put the SMC down? We don't need to. I put the propeller down. So the reason so there we go. So that was the exact I was gonna say it out loud, and my deck just showed me. So the reason I don't install SMC here, usually you do because it costs 0 and this costs 1, and we just don't want to commit resources onto the board. But the reason I don't install SMC here is because we actually have Propeller, Unity, and Palangi in my hand. So the only thing we would be SMCing for is Revolver. So if we lat draw into Revolver, then we're going to be sad because we're going to have this SMC on the board that we're not going to be using. So that's why I did what I did there. Also, yeah. Okay, so we're going to go draw, click Regolith twice. We've got 6 cards in hand. So now we can slam this Diesel, and we'll just like probably discard some cards. It's always important to, if you have dead cards in your hand, to try to discard on turns where we're going to end the turn with 5 cards in hand anyways. So we have 8 cards right now. If I draw again, we can discard 2, which is Clot and SMC. So this is where we go to our deck list and like kind of double check to make sure there's no programs that we want. And there isn't, except we might want to like SMC for second Propeller. So I think I am happy to draw here. Okay. That sucks. That sucks. So, okay, so we go Gamble, Revolver, discard 2, and then we open with Diesel next turn. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. The thing is, like, because it was Diesel, like, I kind of wanted to hold the Gamble in hand so that we could open this turn with Gamble. But we can't, so that's okay. So do we want to contest this? Because we can, but I feel like we don't need to. Because here's the thing, I mean, like, I'm going to say this out loud, and then you can take advantage of this when you play against me in a tournament, is that, and maybe I'm just wrong here, but, like, I feel like I've set up my board and installed my breakers and done nothing in a way that suggests that I'm going to contest this remote when a card goes in there. So because there's 1 card in the remote and a second ice, and the innermost ice is a Res Tatu, and I have 2 breakers on the board, this shouldn't be an agenda. Okay? Hope we can all follow that. This shouldn't be an agenda. So I'm going to ignore it. We're going to continue setting up our board. DJ is great. Usually against PDs, I'll DJ into Sable, but HQ is open right now, so we could DJ into Steve, but our Steve value isn't great, so I'm not going to do that this turn for sure. We drew Overclock, which does let me overclock the remote, but I think I just chill, though. I think I just chill. We can get... Do we want the Parisha? Huh. No, we can just discard it. So we can throw the Unity down, hit the Telework, discard the Parisha, we'll lat draw. And this is fine. We're not in a rush. Like, we don't need the DJ, because we're not quite picking up enough value with Steve yet. Like, obviously this turn we can pick up like Gamble Laundry, which is not even that great, and then next turn we got nothing. So I'm not going to commit to DJing Steve until we know that there's something that we want to get for the next couple turns. Install Spin Doctor Res, draw, install a card in the remote. So now I'm a little bit more interested in the remote, especially with the overclock. We can probably just throw it in there and see what we got. This is probably Bran, right? Because that's, I mean, I don't know. That's what we saw out of HQ. And we can break Bran with just our 1 copy of Propeller. So there's nothing we can't break here. So I'm fine to just throw the overclock at server 1 and see what happens. Would you SMC for Fermenter there if it was in the deck? Yes. Yes, I think so. Discarding SMC might indicate you've got another breaker in hand too. Yeah, it does. It totally does. But it's okay. But that's true. Like that is Gordy, that's like a really good thing to keep in mind is like think about what you discard. Ooh, I'll throw this one out there is that if you watched my finals game in Cascadia against Solomir, he on turn 2, I think, discarded Mutual Favor. And he plays 1 Mutual Favor. So that tells you Corp is acting. Okay. I mean I can go back. He discarded Mutual Favor, which tells you that he has all of his breakers in his hand because he's got 1 of each breaker and 1 Mutual Favor. And like, why would you discard Mutual Favor, right? So like, I basically played the next turn with the knowledge that he's got Echelon in hand, even though it wasn't on the board yet. So it's always important to like think about what you're discarding. If this is Tranquility Home Grid, I'm happy to trash it. It's Mavris, okay. And I'm also happy to trash Spin because it's 50% off with this overclock. We all like a good deal. And then we could run HQ just for a random poke. Is there something we can get with Steve to help with that? Not really. So I'd rather just get this Diesel played. If I play the Diesel, I can play 2 cards and then discard this Anacam, which is very appealing to me because I want to get this Anacam out of the hand. So let's do that. Okay, we can discard 2 Anacams. That's fine. So in that case, we'll just click the Telework then. Is there a reason to install this Palangi? We could pre-install the Palangi. Just kind of threaten the remote. Yeah, I like it actually. Let's do that. Oh, and then we don't discard both Anacams. Okay, that's fine. So here's the reason I do this. So like, usually you don't want to show the things you have, but like, I'm going to show it because I'm not going to run the remote. Even if I didn't have, like, even if they go install a card in the remote with just the brand and the unknown ice, I don't think it's a good enough run for me to install Palangi and run because I'm spending a little bit too much resources. And also there's a risk that there's double barrier. So I'm going to show that I have a way of breaking barriers just to kind of be threatening. And looks like it had the effect, maybe, of our opponent not installing a card in the remote, which is exactly what we wanted. So now we can continue setting up. So let's draw. That's fine. That's awkward. We're probably going to draw again. DJ doesn't quite get us enough. Like, I keep looking at my discard because we want to know what we have left. We have 2 Laundries, 2 Gambles, 2 Creatives, 1 Overclock, and 2 more Trick Shots left in the deck with the 1 Trick Shot in our hand. So we got a lot of Econ still in the deck. I also got a lot of dead cards in our hand, so we can just click to draw here. That's good to have. 1, 2. I can click to draw again if I want to install 2 cards. We probably want to Sable. Just because we have both Deep Dives, and we've got the Hannah, like, we probably do want to Sable here. So I think I will draw again. We just keep drawing. Okay, that's good. So that means I won't... Actually, I probably will Sable now anyways. Because I think we've, like, basically committed to Sabling. So I'm going to Sable now. And we're going to get the Stone Ship down, because that one is going to draw us cards at the start of next turn. And the Sables, like, may be useful, because we could Sable roll Archives, and we could Pinhole Archives and get a Sable click back. So it's just a little bit of small value there that pushes me towards hitting the Sable earlier. Next activation command, install advance. Okay. It's fine. We'll, like, you can have a score. That's fine. The score is 0-0, so, like, the score is not that big of a deal. I'll contest it if I can, but I'm probably not going to. If we find a simulchip, we can like simulchip trick shot. Let's see. Okay. So now we're getting a little punished for installing the Palangi because we can't laundry. And that sucks a lot. But I think we're going to trick shot just because it's valuable. We have a double in hand, so it's just like an R&D double access. It's also an Anacam trigger, and we can break everything. So let's just do it. This is purely a 4-value trick shot. We're going to Palangi this because we don't want to spend $4. Oh, actually, maybe we do because we have $4. If I Palangi this into a code gate, we spend $1, $2, $3, $4 still. We spend $4 and save 2 revolver counters. We might even deep dive this turn. Interesting. Okay, let's just spend revolver counters. Just so that we can break a barrier on HQ, I guess. Yeah, we might just deep dive this turn. Because why not? Maybe? I don't know. We'll see how we feel. I mean, I've got 6 credits. It's just not a ton. But, like, we can laundry HQ. Can we? If it's Bran, we have to pay 1, 2, 3. No, we can't laundry HQ. Good to know. Trankrid. We don't want them to have that. But I think we can win the game faster than this mattering, so we're not going to trash it, even though it's 50% off. Again, we do like a deal. Do we try to bait a misplay? I feel like we are. We're going to try to bait a misplay. We shouldn't res here. I mean, like, maybe we should, but... Because what? This cost me 1, 2, 3... This cost me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 credits. And then I have 2 credits remaining to break the last dice. I could also click the Bran, which is very... Oh, actually, no, I can't. I can't next activation command it. So... I can't click the Bran. So I'm actually not threatening much. So we shouldn't res this ice. But if she does res this ice, it's going to cost her some money. It's hopefully the Tatu. And I can just bounce off it. If it's Gatekeeper, then I'm going to let it fire. And if it's Drafter, we're going to have to pay 4. Which we're kind of just like trading a little bit of credits here. Because I'm trying to set up for this 2 deep dive. I find it tricky to figure out the value of a Palangi counter. The Palangi is, once you're set up, it's like generally not useful. So if it saves you money, you should always use it. If you have all your breakers set up. Sometimes you run out of propeller counters, like the case is right now. So like the value of the Palangi is to let me break barriers. Because right now I can't break barriers. So that's like where the value of the Palangi is right now. Generally the Palangi is there for the early game where you go like install like, you know, any like revolver or propeller, install Palangi, and now you can break 2 pieces of ice if one of them is one of those types. That's like where the Palangi is the most valuable. Once you're set up, the Palangi is not that good. Border control, we're gonna break. We're just gonna make it a code gate, and then we're gonna match, and we're gonna break the gain money sub, and we're gonna say done, and then we're gonna bounce, and we're gonna see what we draw off this Anacam first before we make any other decisions. We might laundry HQ. Oh wow. I can't break barriers. Maybe we just run HQ. This seems fine. Ooh. There's JNet lag. Oh no. Just dig for keyhole and account siphon them. Okay. Yeah, it looks like a bit of JNet lag is hitting us. That's gonna cost me 4 credits. That sucks. I mean, it's a bad turn to run. This is probably a misplay, but I mean, we're here, so we're gonna break it. Don't love that. But if they score, we're gonna be able to deep dive well next turn. Just enough. Not really, because I don't want to deep dive and not be able to steal Ikawa. Oh, I can laundry archives. Not very smart. So yeah, we are gonna laundry archives. We're gonna lose the Palangi, but that's okay. Like, again, I don't value the Palangi too much. It is valuable here because we can't break barriers, but it's okay. Show me Ikawa project. Very good. We also shuffled the Drafter and the Trankard away, which is useful. Void and Offworld. So we can't steal 2 agendas, but we will take the Iqua project. And then we'll probably go for a double steal with the next deep dive. And we get the lat draw at 5. Which is not a mistake. Like, that was also planned. Lots of stuff to think about. Hopefully, she just scores next turn without installing a new thing. And then we can, you know, we can, like, spend a turn rebuilding. Yeah. Seamless double event score Ikawa? If that's the case, that's so good for me. But no. Okay. It's architect deployment test. Okay, another example of, like, picking up information wherever you can. We just scored ADT. So that tells you that aside from the top deck, aside from the mandatory draw, we shouldn't have an off-world office in hand. Because off-world office is always better than architect deployment test. Like, almost always. Okay, so usually we will be installing and scoring off-world instead of architect deployment test. So because we chose to score architect deployment test, it means that at the time we probably didn't have an off-world in hand. Okay, so we can just, like, simulchip, wheels, telework, credit is totally fine. And that'll get us our lat draw at 4. Now, it's interesting because, like, the wheels isn't actually necessary because we already have Sable. And we only have 1 deep dive. So as I took that turn, I started wondering, like, is the wheels actually necessary? And maybe it's not. Here we can draw. I really want to trigger Anacam. There's not really an event we can play, though, so not much we can do. That's good. I think we just click for credits then. I don't know how good the pinhole is, but it might be useful. Scoring Luminal. Very nice. I'm at risk of Ikawa Project. We're picking up the next activation command again, which is annoying, but like, oh, we're playing it? Install advance? Okay. That's fine. That's fine. See, so the thing is, like, if we have double seamless in hand, like, I don't know. Like I lose if we have double seamless in hand, and that's a Ikawa Project. That's not much we can do about that. I can install SMC and then SMC for cupulation and run HQ. That's hella expensive. So we're not going to do that. All the servers are also hella expensive. So I'm just going to chill, I think. Yeah. I need money. Like, think about what we're drawing for. Like, we got 1 laundry, 2 overclocks, which is not really money because we're trying to get money to deep dive and gamble. How much money do we need? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to play the deep dive. And then let's say 10, 11, 12, 3 credits for this one. So let's try to find a little bit of money. Perfect. Another simulchip is that necessary? Maybe it's not. We just click for 2, I think. Yeah, we just click for 2. We do lose to double seamless Ikawa Project. Oh my god, do we have it? No way. Okay. Whew. Close call. Close call. I think that concluding they have no off if they score ADT is risky because, especially since Augustus just won Swedish and German Nats and published a deck list, which is PD with 3 ADT, 2 off. Really? I haven't looked at that deck list. But, I mean, maybe that's, like, it's my conclusion that Off-World is better than Architects. So, like, the theory is this, right? The theory is that if you choose to install Architect instead of Off-World, you are, like, I think that that's suboptimal. So either my read is going to be correct, or in my opinion, you've made a suboptimal decision. And like, I can like figure things out from there, regardless of which one is the case. And in theory, in the long run, like that'll work out for me. But I think like if you look at individual games, if I make that read and I was wrong, then like that is a big deal that I was wrong. If that makes sense. I think we want to run archives first. Just in case this is Bran, then I need to like juggle my simulchips in a way that allows me to deep dive. But it's Tattoo, so that's fine. So we're going to trash the propeller to install propeller and discard Palangi. Oh, wait. Yeah. Yeah, it just gets the Palangi into the bin. We're going to break this. Then we're going to Trick Shot. I should win here. The other thing that you can do... Oh, sorry. Choose a credit providing card. The other thing that you can do in this position is you could lock the remote. But like locking the remote is sketchy because we've got ice on centrals. So this pinhole is going to cost me a little bit of money. So it's risky. We're going to match the strength. And then we're going to break 1 sentry sub. And then we're going to trash it to break another sentry sub. We're going to lose this counter so that I can simulchip it back. Gatekeeper. Ansel. Uh-oh. That's not good. Propeller. Okay. Revolver. Counter. And then we are going to pop the wheels here so that we can steal Ikawa and a 2-pointer. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Don't worry about it. We can just steal Ikawa. Never mind. GG. Was that the only agenda in hand? I probably just sniped a 1 in 4. Yeah. So if we miss the 1 in 4, we actually only steal Ikawa, and then the off-world gets jammed, and then we basically like, well, Brand Luminal Office Gatekeeper. Yeah, like it's not. I don't lose for sure. I probably do lose though, because I basically go like, if we steal the Ikawa and I pop the wheels, that means I have a click left. So we're gonna install Propeller, and then next turn we go install Simulchip, Trick Shot, and we're gonna bounce off this brand, run the remote. And we're going to use the Propeller to break the border of the brand. It highly depends on what this ice is. And then we can simulchip to get back in, but we're like really short on credits. We could draw an overclock. There's a creative on top, a laundry, and then an overclock. So we're probably short, and we probably have to just like access 2 cards off Trick Shot and try to win from there. I tried to set up something where the agendas go from R&D straight to HQ, but it didn't pan out. Yeah. Also on the Trick Shot first deep dive turn, I was thinking if I want to not res board control. I assume you just check out. Yeah, I do just check out. What is on the ice? Ice inside remote. Yeah, I do just check out. That was just a bait run. It's a cool write-up. Brain enlargement revolver lines on a Sunday morning for me. This is a scenario you described to me at East Nats about refilling revolver. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where like it's hard to trash this revolver. So sometimes you need to just trash it manually. Which is fine. So Gordy, the scenario I was describing is where the revolver has 0 tokens to begin with. Like my revolver here had 2, so I spent 1 and then trashed it, which is fine. But like, if you have 0 counters already, so let's say I like ran through Drafter 3 times, and I don't really know what's going to happen later in the game, so like, you kind of want to just keep an empty gun on the board for like the purposes of unity boosting anyways, right? Sorry, I'll come back to this thought in a second. The reason there is that me... So let's say we like ran Drafter 3 times and like spent 6 revolver counters, and now we just have an empty gun on the board. And now if you think about the situation, like, like, I don't know. It's just like, I think you can always work around it with 1 revolver. Now that I'm thinking about it, you can always work around it. But like, in that situation, I would have had to, when I simulchip the Propeller, I would need to trash the revolver when I install the Propeller. which is totally fine. Like, you can just do that. So, you know, it is totally something you can work around. But I don't know. I like it. Like, 2 revolver makes it like it's cheap. You can just throw it on the board like at a 2 cost, and sometimes the bullets do run out, and like just having an extra copy is nice. But I think it probably is cuttable if you want the influence for something else. Like, I think some people want to play Entangler, and I think you can cut the revolver, like cut 1 revolver for 1 Entangler. But then you can like, the thing is, like, if you look at this board right now, what does Entangler do for you? Like, nothing, right? Like, it can get through Drafter for 2 credits, but Revolver already gets through Drafter for 2 credits. You just have to use 2 bullets as well. So, like, in my mind, Entangler's just for Gatekeeper. The turn that it's rezzed, you can SMC for Entangler and Entangler through Gatekeeper. That's, like, the one benefit, mainly. If Deep Dive missed here, aren't we running out of resources here? Yeah, kind of. Entangler would be pretty bad into PD. You get wrecked by Mavris. Yeah, you get wrecked by Mavris too. You tested an Entangler, didn't like it much in the lat shell I was playing. Yeah, I think like Bridgman's playing Muse as well, and like it's good with Muse. But I think it is awkward because like Entangler is like, you can use it to get through Gatekeeper, but the thing is, like, in my mind, the best scenario is getting through a just res Gatekeeper, but every turn after that, if you have your Unity down, it just costs 2. And it costs Entangler 2. So it's like, sometimes like on turn 1 though, if you can like Entangler a Gatekeeper, trash a Rashida against PD, like that is game winning. So it's a strong argument for. We are running a little short on resources. That's true. As I said, like if a card goes in the remote, like if we whiff the deep dive, which we were going to, if we didn't pick the 1 and 4 out of HQ, then we would probably just be trick shotting and seeing 2 out of R&D, which is not great, but that would have been what we were left to. The thing is, we have a lot of money left in the deck. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. But like it's like a decent amount of money. Like we got creative, gamble, a laundry, and an overclock, which is like for what this deck can do with like little amounts of money, it is quite a bit. Yeah, it was a fun game though. I love playing this deck. The double deep dive is like something that's relatively new. Let's go again. Would an Echelon instead of second revolver be cowardly? I don't know. Maybe it's fine. It is cute because we have a lot of breakers. Like when you say Echelon, I'm like, okay, how do we get 5 breakers on the board? And sometimes you can have 5 breakers on the board. you have Unity, double propeller, revolver, and Echelon, and that's 5. And then you can like break a non-Z's for 3 credits. Maybe it's fine. Yeah. So what? You go like 1 revolver, 1 Echelon, and an Entangler? Just like what are we spending the influence on? Okay, BTL's like a hard matchup because if we triple advance a Pharaohs, I just can't break that. Unless we have Palangi. So this is a hard matchup. And I think as I described a little bit in my write-up, you're compensated by the fact that Pressure Spike is in faction, and Pressure Spike is really good against Pharaohs. So if this shows up, you can just play Pressure Spike. I feel like anytime you want Echelon, you could paint with Palangi and break with Unity for cheap. Exactly. Thanks for the insight. Identifying when to run and when it's most like probably bait is so interesting and key here. Yeah. It's really interesting. So this is like the thing is this is Wayland, so I think you always run this. Yeah. Like the worst case scenario is like, yeah, that's fine. The worst case scenario is whatchamacallit, is a cat, in which case it like gets an advancement counter on itself. But they didn't pre-advance it, so like it takes away from the built to last ability, which is at least a little bit of compensation. Now let's just end our turn with 3 cards. So that is telework, quick telework, creative. Gets us our 3 cards, and we'll get our lat draw. Oh my god, okay, I was just gonna talk about this, and then we drew it. So this is the Wayland tech, okay? Is when you're playing against Wayland and you're playing this lat deck, or you're playing like, I don't know, any non-Anarch deck that plays DJ, is you should DJ Quetzal. Because all of the Wayland decks that play like, well, sorry, BTL specifically, is probably playing tree lines, Akets, like, and lots of like single sub barriers, right? So you can usually DJ Quetzal and just like get a lot of value out of that. This is like aggressive. We don't have a trick shot or an overclock, which is awkward. What does this deck play? What does this deck play that is not barriers? Because the thing is, like, I think times like this, I wonder if I should play off instead of Uptown. Yeah, because like our opponent probably knows that we're on Propeller, right? So like they probably don't install double barrier here, so this shouldn't be a barrier. So I could go like install DJ, install Unity Run. But what code gates do we play? What sentries do we play? They're all barriers, are they not? Huh. That sucks. We're not gonna do it because like if I like take this gamble and I'm wrong, then I probably lose the game because I'm too behind on tempo. So we should just get our lat draw at 5. That's good. Let's draw. Ooh. 1 card too late, I think. Yeah. 1 card too late. That sucks. That sucks a lot. Hordem in Winchester. Yeah. Yeah, like it's probably Hordem. You're right. But in which case I like spend 6, I go to 5, and then I have to spend 5 to break the Hordem. So I'm spending all my money to get that. Ugh. That sucks. Okay. We chill. Maybe they don't score. Shh. I'll throw this out there as well, is that the reason we don't play the laundry, because we could have laundried HQ R&D there, and the reason I don't do that is we could have lat drawn into Anacam, and if I did that, I would want the laundry this turn, because then I can install Anacam and laundry, because that was the only event in our hand. So that's why the laundry wasn't played. Okay, more setup. Hannah's good. Trick shot's good. Revolver is going to be necessary, so we'll just play 3 cards. Hannah is Hannah needed right now? Not really. Let's throw this simul chip on the board for now. Parisha is like interesting. We're probably not going to be trashing assets, so we probably don't need it. Oh, really? We love to see that. We love to see that. Let's go. Yeah, bring it on. Love that. That's so good for me, because I think we should be able to break in here. So we go boom, boom, give us the Quetzal, and we trick shot. And then we last click draw for our lat draw at 4 as well. Theros, yep. Charlotte. Oh, that makes sense. This is probably just Charlotte, actually. I will trash Charlotte. Oh. Okay. That sucks. But, like, we can simul-chip the Pelongi if we want to run back, so it is an option. It is Hordem. Shout out to the person who called that in chat, Tanuki. Okay, so I pay $4 for this. It's fine. I don't want to, but we gotta do it. We're here. And then we can simul-chip if we want to get back in, but, like, it's so expensive, so we probably don't. But, like, the fact that it costs them border control is fine. Yes, and Quetzal's also good against Ob with Sandstone. That's true. Although I found that, like, the propeller's usually good enough against Ob. This is an agenda, isn't it? I can't get it. I actually need another run event to get it. Yeah, I need another trick shot or an overclock. Because this cost me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 1 short. That's okay. That's fine. Like, it cost them a border control. It's okay. And also, if this is Atlas, we're going down to, like, 2 credits. Yeah, that's fine. No Anacam is hurting us a lot here. So please draw Anacam. Try again. Okay. I mean, that's fine. So now we just set up the board, which is this and this. And we'll discard the Parisha. Yeah. No Anacam sucks. Going low on credits is okay because we got Dirty Laundries and we've got Overclock and Trickshot. So I kind of, like, if anything, this, like, shows a little bit of weakness. So maybe they, like, I don't know, slam an Oaktown. Which would be hella crazy because this just cost me 2 credits to break. And then this is free, so slamming Oaktown's probably not happening. So I can Dirty Laundry into the remote, and we can Dirty Laundry into HQ. So let's start with Laundry. Do we? The remote cost me 3. So if we go Laundry, click Telework, Laundry the remote, get a Wheels run in there in between, and then I click for $1. Seems okay. All right. Oh, wait. I should click the Telework first. Just in case it's like Rashida or something, we can trash it out of HQ. So let's start with Laundry. Winchester's good to know. Let's run this Spin Doctor. Spin Doctor? The corp is super poor, so... Oh, forgot Hannah was on board? Okay. Okay. We'll trash that. And then we'll Laundry into here. Seems okay. We're going to save our credit events. It's going to cost me 3 to get through. Yeah. This should be fine. Like, what does BTL play here that screws up the Laundry? Like, nothing, right? Like, it could be Skunk and then I am super screwed. But like, I don't know. The chances of that is like super low that like I'll take this risk. And we have $2, so we can trash a Rashida. And then we'll lat draw it for click for a credit. It's spin, okay. So that's fine. I will trash a spin. I think. Do I? It allows them to Audacity. Yeah, I'll trash it. I'll just throw the stone chip down. Like we'll pop it next turn. And like our run events are going to continue to allow us to run this remote. And like we know that there's a Pharaohs in hand, but that's not going to be relevant here because like our opponent has chosen to rush like very aggressively, and it has gotten them a lot of points, but it's going to hurt their late game setup. And that's kind of the balance. Is like if they didn't rush, they might have a Pharaohs, but they're going to have less points, so the game's going to be slower, etc., etc. Ice on HQ. Okay. So we probably want to trick shot just because it allows us, like it gives us this run on R&D, which we don't have to do later. Because like if for those who have seen Bridgman's write-up, like trick shot is a little like is restrictive, right? You have to run R&D. And because there's no ice on R&D right now, it's a good time to do it. We found the Anacam as well, which is really good. So I think Anacam trick shot is totally fine. We could go Anacam laundry and then trick shot. Or we could just trick shot. The remote cost me 3. Yeah. The remote cost me 3. And then we want 2 credits behind to trash Charlotte. So... Do we want a laundry? That's the question. I think I don't. We could also just wheels, you know? Like, we could, like, Anacam laundry and then just wheels the remote. That's, like, the greediest line. You know what? We might go for the greedy line. We might just go for that. Let's just do that. Okay, that's fine. Another trick shot. No, we're gonna wheels this. I feel like I like that. Drawing doesn't do me anything. Drawing might get me gamble, and then I'll trick shot if I draw gamble. Okay, let's draw first. Okay. And then I'll wheels. And we're like going low, but it's okay. Like we got trick shots and overclocks. We are like low on real money, which is concerning. Because we need to make sure that we have enough to play gamble. We got 2 gambles left. So it is not ideal that I'm doing it this way, but we keep an extra trick shot in our hand, which is useful. This is going to get popped, which is fine. And then I'll take a credit. We'll be at 3. We'll lat draw. And this is fine. Nice. Two more creatives. 1 more gamble left in the deck. Deep dives haven't shown up yet, but that's okay. We don't need it quite yet. Yeah, if we contested the Oaktown by installing Unity and DJ, I would have had to spend 5 or 4 to break the Whoredom, and we would have ended that turn with 1 credit. Or we allow them to spend their next turn gaining 3 and scoring 2 points. That's really close. We probably, like I think given the information, we would have done it. But without the information, we don't, if that makes sense. So I think if it's like a hard read that this is Whoredom. But if of all the decks out there, like BTL plays a bunch of barriers, and then like what code gates and sentries do they play? Like Winchester and Whoredom, maybe Thimblerig, maybe Colossus. That's about it. Install Respin, shuffle Charlotte, unseen card, install new ice, and a card on top. Okay. I think Trickshot is totally fine here. So let's just do that. We can go credit, gamble, Trickshot. And then we can get border control, but that's okay. Yeah. Border control's okay. I mean, like, they're on 4 points, so, like, that sucks. Oh, public trail. Okay, good to know. Public trail and border control coming up. That's very good to know. It's another tree line, which is totally fine. That cost me $1. I do want to save the Palangi counters. Ooh, or do I? Because I could just spend all of this money. No. We'll spend the propeller. We want to stay at $8, like, for some reason. Not because of public trail, because they only have $1. So maybe we do actually want to just use the Palangi counter. What I'm saying is I can Palangi it into a code gate, and I can break the tree line for 2 credits. So I'm essentially paying an extra credit and an extra Palangi counter in exchange for 2 propeller counters. And I wouldn't actually be paying an extra credit because I have money on this trick shot, unless this card in the remote cost me 2 to trash. So, but like, I think we can keep this Palangi. Oh, it's another spin. Oh, I haven't been scrolling. What was even their turn? I thought I saw their turn. No, I did see their turn. It was install spin, shuffle Charlotte, unseen, install ice, install new card. And then we installed another spin? Interesting. They're super broke, so that's really good for me. It makes me use a trick shot, so that's not nothing. They're gonna advance the tree line, which makes sense. They're gonna advance the Whoredom, which is fine. That's just clicking for a credit, and we're gonna actually click for a credit, and then discard 3. And then I'm gonna run archives and get this Palangi purged by Mavris, which is fine. Yeah, 2 propeller counters might matter a lot. I think I probably misplayed. I probably should have Palangi'd. I do have Simul Chip. There's 18 cards left, and there's still 2 more Simul Chips. So, we're doing okay. This lat would not exist without Trickshot, I feel. It gets a lot worse. It does get a lot worse. But like the deck's already on 2 overclock. So like I think you can easily go 3 overclock 2 Trickshot and the deck would be totally fine. And then the other 2 trick shots it does make the deck a lot worse. Okay, so we just diesel here. We could run HQ and like force a Winchester res for fun. Because they probably would res it. We want to save the gamble for next turn. I don't need to check the bin. We can draw again. And just play 2 cards. We can go credit and play creative. Yeah. Oh, actually, no, wait. No, we want to play both. Because I want to keep an SMC so that we can clot. Just in case. We might need to clot. Because we are losing 4-0 on scoreline, so that's most Shaper decks. I think RA is fine without Trick Shot. I think Ari is fine without Trick Shot. I don't know. I think World. I don't like World Tree Ari. It's too, the power in the deck is too much. Is too in the cards, and I don't like that. Okay, so we play another Trick Shot here. Seems okay. And then we Palangi, cost me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exactly all the money. Sure. We're just building for deep dive. There's a CityWorks project. We'll take that. Okay, so we need to keep 6 cards in hand. Oh, actually, well, we got a ton of money. I was just gonna be like, we need to keep cards in hand for punitive. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Deep dive coming soon. Yeah. Got 2 breakers first. Propeller's going to be useful. The money is very healthy. Scoring the Atlas cost you a lot of money. I didn't press the remote as hard as I could have. Well, I think I did, honestly. Like I feel like I like threaded the needle well, in that like I let them do their thing, but I also made sure it cost them the border control. So like you can score the 2 agendas, but you have to use the border control, and like I kind of costed them enough money to make their situation uncomfortable. And I did, like, they did score points, but I was able to build out of it afterwards. Thought about overinstall Treeline for Pharos. Yeah, Pharos, and then maybe Treeline. Triple advance can cause me problems. That is the worst matchup of this deck because the identity destroys the game plan. Does it? Oh, because we're playing end of the line. Oh, okay. I see. We're playing end of the line. I thought we were like playing like some kind of rig destruction retribution. But I know that Andre was like, I don't know, showing a BTL like this. I think actually now that I see the CityWorks, I know that it is that deck. But Andre was showing like this like CityWorks like fork where we like have public trail end of the line. which is I think is just inconsistent because you can't like for you to land a public trail end of line kill, you need to have all 3 cards and you need to like land a tag with that public trail, or you kill them with like 1 end of the line and they have to have less than 4 cards. There's too much out of your control. Catching up on chat. Where else would the power be? BTL needs those Charlottes to fire. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Needs those Charlottes to fire. Maybe? Is there still an NGO in hand? Where's the NGO? I don't know. Okay. So there's 2 lag games. I might swap to some egg. And then chat can outvote me if you want me to go back to lat or stick with egg. But I'm gonna swap and play 1 or 2 games with egg, and we'll see how we feel from there. So let me move things around here. Oh, Jackman, you were you live in Germany, right? I think. Were you at German Nationals? I think German Nationals had like it was like a 50-person turnout. It's a pretty good Nationals turnout. Although like I don't know, Europe is crazy because Europe has all these like tournaments with a lot of people because Europe is so population dense and North America is not. Okay, I will be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So I will be back in a minute. Okay, back at it. I was not. Just took a pause from Netrunner. Yeah, fair enough. You were correct. I do live in Germany. Nice. Yeah, hope you're doing well. I mean, it was such a pleasure like running into you and chatting at Worlds. Okay, let's play some egg. Is this the egg? Yes, it is. I don't change the names of my decks as they progress. Okay. We have a lat. All right. This hand is not great, so we will throw that away. It's close though. Like Subliminal 2 Ice is great, but we are looking for something that involves a Charlotte or a Rashida. Which to me, like, man, like, personally, I really look forward to Dawn coming out. And I look forward to Rashida rotating. Because, like, I feel like every Corp deck right now is like, I need to find Rashida, and I need to fire Rashida. And it sucks. Like, I hate that. Like, there's 3 copies of Rashida in your deck, and, like, so much rides on that, I feel. And, like, JNet has a Rashida counter now, which I think is hilarious. Yeah, it just sucks. I don't like that. How rude do we want to be? We could go like spin. We could go spin Tattoo Anansi R&D. If we're crazy and we want to just like have 2 agendas in hand, which is really crazy. We could install Res Spin, which gives them the lat draw. And is kind of awkward for us. We could also Tattoo HQ, which I don't like that either. I'm gonna do this. Somebody, like, I don't know. I deserve to get punished for this, but like, I feel like I've started to play Corp more and more crazy because it's just rough out there. Keep in mind though, like the way that I see this is there's only a 1 in 3 where this goes wrong, because if they run HQ and steal back pro, I'm actually very happy about that. I do want to deny lat draw with the Spin Doctor. Nah, we gotta draw. There we go. There's Rashida. So I can install Rashida and install Border. Don't love that. Don't love that at all. Huh. But I think we gotta go, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna take a credit here. No real reason, but like, there's not really too much we want to do, and I don't want to go to 5 cards because that's a 5 cards like allows the lat draw a little too easily. We don't need to. I was considering Swiss Nats, but I think it is more likely I go to Danish Nats. I also look forward to the post-FG world. I do like me my old cards, but the new world is interesting to explore. Yeah, I agree. Would you res spin when they run HQ? No, I would not. I'm pretty sure. Because, like, yeah, like, I want them to steal the back pro, because it helps me, it speeds up my setup a ton. It speeds up my setup a ton to let them run HQ and steal this back pro. If they steal the Nisei, that's unfortunate, but I feel like resing spin gives away our hand a little too much. But maybe you do. Maybe you do. La Costa Nisei is probably fine. Oh, I hate that. The problem is, like, I don't want to just score this. You know? But it's fine. We'll put this on HQ. We could install Spin Naked, and then we can res it. Like, I really want to hedge fund or a Hansei review here. You know what? Oh, shoot. That was the worst misclick. Oh my god. Okay. Man, if this is a tournament, we can't be undoing that. Oh, that's so bad. Okay, we're just gonna install a spin naked. And then we're gonna, at the start of next turn, we're gonna res La Costa, put an advancement on this, and then leave it, I think. Which is maybe unnecessary. I think if they don't run the spin, maybe we'll just score. But scoring is so bad. Like, if you score, you go down to 2 credits. And then you have Border and Tatu. So, like, next turn you go credit, install Agenda. Worst case, right? And hopefully we install Charlotte. Yeah, okay, so they're going to run this. So we are going to res it. Or not. They have $1. Go ahead. It's fine. Oh, I forgot to res. We're missing so many triggers here. Off-world. Maybe I will just score this. Yeah, we're just gonna score this. We'll just get the Nisei counter. It's okay. I don't usually play Egg Infusion in this way, but I guess I am today. Do we throw out the back row? I feel like we don't. I feel like we throw out the sprint. No, we'll throw out the back pro. I feel like, because we're going to draw one, right? Like, if we shuffle this one back, there's 3 other 5/3s left in the deck. So, like, we'll probably find one. So let's just keep the agendas out of play. I don't like this score, though. It's like, our money is so bad. But, like, we'll have to take advantage of the fact that we have a secured Nisei counter. 1 in 5. Nope. They're not going to pop the stone ship, which is interesting. They're waiting on me to spin, which I think is not worth their time. But they have diesel, so, like, it is. Oh. Okay. So they're going to trash the Costa. That's a good play, although this is Tatu, so that's good for me. Yeah, okay, I guess we'll Resonancy. That sucks. But now we can boop them into a Nazi. Okay. Nice draws. Those are beautiful draws. We don't need the Rashida anymore because we just drew another one. I think if we didn't draw Rashida, we probably would have shuffled back Rashida instead of Spin Doctor. We're not going to Stone Ship. Last chance. Okay. They probably should. Unless they have a Diesel in their hand, but like they still should. We'll just skip this because we don't have anything. It's fine. I think Rashida's just fine. So just go like Subliminal, Rashida, Saisentan HQ. And this is fine. We're just gonna like, essentially we're gonna lose the Rashida when they run, and we're gonna trigger a Tatu. And then we're gonna follow up next turn with Off-World and Bran, and then we're gonna tax with Nisei, hopefully. But they have Simulchip, so like the second a Propeller comes down, the Bran is gonna be broken pretty easily. So it just becomes a matter of taxing the Propeller. It's gonna be a tough road ahead. But maybe we get the Rashida, because they haven't found a Barrier Breaker. Which looks like that's the case. If they install Propeller and run now, then that puts me in an awkward spot. Because, like, if I want the Rashida, I'm going to have to egg boop them to Archives. And we don't want to throw out a Tatu or a Border. But looks like they're not running, so I actually pick up the Subliminal as well, and like this game is going to be probably totally fine from now on. Pressure Spike in the bin. Okay, that's good to know. They also discarded Hannah, which is really weird. They discarded that last turn. But we get a ton of money here. Like, hopefully we pick up an Econ event. We play the Econ event, put the Off-World in the remote, put a Brand on top. Things are looking very good. No Econ event. Okay. That sucks. That sucks a lot. We might just Rashida then. Because I expect them to run, right? Like, they're definitely running next turn. So we just go, like, Subliminal, Rashida, Bran, Credit. And then I can't res the Tatu. We need to res the Tatu. That sucks. I could sprint. Thinking. We could sprint and try to find, like, there's 3 Hansias and 3 hedge funds. That sucks so much. Wow. We could install another Tatu. Maybe that's the play. And they're just going to pay through some Tatus. That's probably what we got to do. I could put the Rhyme on top. If I install 2 ice, that costs me 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we can res. We could put the Rhyme on top, and then they can't Pressure Spike through my Tatu. That's actually super cute. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we go Subliminal, Rashida, Tatu, and then Rhyme. And then we discard Sysantan, I guess. So here's the other complex thing about the lat matchup is some lats play Echelon and my lat plays Revolver. And you want to tax Revolver counters by like putting Sysantans on a remote. But if they're playing Echelon, then stacking Sysantans on a remote is really bad. So we don't yet know which one they're on. Which means I don't know how good this Sysantan is. Maybe we just throw out the sprint. And we'll just stay flexible. Keeping ice in your hand is also just good. Because we've got Tatus. So this is okay. They should run here. I mean, if they don't, we get a Rashida. So that's great. But they should run here. Because they've set themselves up to run, and they've got this 5 counter Fermenter, and they're going to overclock HQ. Okay. That's fine. We're going to SMC for something? For Echelon or Revolver? And then I guess we simulchip for Pressure Spike, which makes sense. One very technical thing is they should pass the ice before they SMC. Because technically what they did was I declined to res, and they decided to use the window to install Revolver, which means the window comes back to me, and I can choose to res now. So, like, you should always pass the ice before you SMC for something, because I could technically, very technically, have res the ice after they SMC'd. They're going to pick up the Sysantan. Excellent. I didn't want it. That's like the best card they could have accessed in our hand, which is excellent. They could run back in C3, which is, like, could win them the game. Oh, they are going to run back? Okay. That sucks. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. So I just have to hope they hit the back pro first. That sucks. Nope. Okay. And Bran? Nice. Okay. It's fine. There's nothing we could have done about that. Like, it's like, they ran into HQ, Cupulationed. Like, I was expecting them to run the remote, which I think the vast majority of players would there. Because I have $3. Like, they should be pressuring this remote. Yeah. But it's okay. Like, we fire Rashida, we install back pro, we advance the back pro. We're doing okay. Maybe we even purge this fermenter. We probably do, actually. Wait a second. Should I just start turn and just purge the fermenter? Yeah. Okay, watch this. We're gonna Lacosta this. We're gonna Lacosta the Rashida, and we're not gonna res it, and we're gonna purge this fermenter. Okay. Very nice. Now next turn we're gonna fire Rashida, hedge fund, install advance back pro. Maybe not even hedge fund. We might just install double advance back pro, because like the important thing about this game, like this egg infusion, is you got to think about your advancement patterns. And if you install double advance back pro, that means next turn you get a Lacosta counter, and then you can double advance score, pick up a 4-2, and install it in the remote immediately. Which means you win a whole turn faster than if you play the hedge fund. I think even more technically, the window already closed and they have to pass, because runner gets SMC window first. Pass, you get the res window, pass, so it closes. Oh, you're right. I have no idea what I'm talking about. You're totally right. And I'm totally wrong. You're completely correct. They did already. That was the next window. You're totally right. Ooh, a void. So what's the deal here? They have pressure spike, no propeller. Can I just install double advance? That's so interesting. The thing is, I probably don't need to. Like, we just take an extra turn, and we just go hedge fund, back pro, void, and that like definitely locks the game up. And it just means that they have an extra turn getting R&D accesses. So if let's do the math. So if I install double advance, the thing is, the math is really hard to do because we don't know what they have, right? So like they could have overclock and trick shot, and like all of that stuff screws with the math. So we don't want to put too much reliance on the math that I'm about to do. But how much does it cost? 1, 2 to install the pressure spike, 3, 4, 5 to break, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then they have to run back, which costs them another like 10 credits. The thing is, my money's not that great anyways. Because if I go install double advance, I'm going to have to go advance, score, install, and then have 3 credits behind, which I just don't have. So I have to play the hedge fund. So let's just lock it up. Like, I could void R&D. Yeah. I don't know. We could void R&D. Maybe it was better to void R&D? I have been running into this problem sometimes where I like overprotect the remote. Because like sometimes if you have all the information you need to protect the remote, you don't need to put more protection there. You actually want to put more protection elsewhere, so that you don't leak agendas in other places. But like, as I said, like we could have other things. Oh, we could have pinhole too. So it didn't actually matter, but they have to pinhole the right card, which I'll let them do it. You can Nisei that. if they know which one's the void, you can Nisei that and then just use the void on the remote. But it was a 50-50 here, and also I don't think this is necessary, the void, that is. So I'd rather just hold on to the Nisei counter, and it looks like they whiffed the 50-50 anyways. And now we just got some odds. Like, there's 4 agendas left in R&D, there's 24 cards left. And they have 6 clicks to find one. Because they have they have this turn, which is 2 clicks, and they have 4 clicks next turn. And then the turn after that, I'm gonna score back pro, and then they've lost already. That's interesting. I could kick them to the remote here. Should I? Interesting. And then I can get Bernard. They lose 5 credits, though. They have to simulchip. Thinking. They have to simulchip and lose a program to install Pressure Spike. And then pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I void them. Yeah, I think I do that. Yeah. Make use of the void. Why not? They lose 5 whole credits. You gotta remember this, right? Like, Laundry, when you play Laundry, you net 3, but if the run goes wrong, you've actually paid a click in 2, and then you gain 5, is what the card says. So, like, if the run, like, from the corpse perspective, the click in 2 is already gone. So really, it's like, do I want to do what I just did to prevent them from getting 5 credits? 5 credits is a lot of money. Jack's out. Nice. And then they can burner if they want. And then they can, like, shuffle my border and my brand back. And that's worst case. And if they do that, then I'm probably going to have to sprint to find a piece of ice. They go for a poke, which is fine. It's a waste of a click. I know it's a waste of a click because there's nothing in here. Let's Lacosta the back pro. If JNet will let me. There we go. We drew a Bran. I want to advance this again. Because I want this at 2. And I might as well get it to 3, just in case we find a 5-3 only. So we might as well get it to 3, and then we're going to throw this Bran onto HQ. Just so we can egg boop a burner. We're going to get it to 3 so that, like, we can Lacosta to 4, and then we go advance, score, pick up a 5-3, install advance. In case that's the only thing we see. I love how this game, like, played out. Like, it's so interesting. I keep throwing shade at Arasana, but, like, I really don't like World Tree Arasana, and I haven't been playing it. Like, I've been, like, I understand how the deck works, and I've been, like, playing it for the purposes of testing, but, like, I haven't been playing it at tournaments and stuff, or, like, playing it for fun, because I don't personally find the deck fun, because the power in the deck is in the cards. So, like, just, like, the fact that you can install Coalescence, gain money, and then do that clicklessly with Arasana, and then turn the Coalescence into a program that you search out of your deck paying 3 less, is just good, and, like, that's why the deck is good. And it's like, and I find that, like, as long as you kind of know what you're doing and you kind of understand like some degree of Netrunner value, then you're gonna do well with the deck. And yeah, it's like it can be overwhelming because there's a lot of like options, but like you don't need to play it optimally. I think like you can just get like against most opponents playing most corp decks, like you can just like I feel like the deck plays itself a little too much. Yeah. Okay, so we found a bunch of stuff. There's an agenda, so that's what we're looking for. So we're going to say done. We're going to add the back part of HQ. We're going to say done, I think. Yep. And then we're going to go... It doesn't matter. The La Costa doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Because, like, if your opponent isn't on game point, then you might think about, like, okay, if I lose this agenda, how are we going to proceed? But... our opponent is on game point. So the order of these cards just literally don't matter. So we just throw them on top of R&D, and then we play the Subliminal, install, and advance. And like it's basically like whoever gets this agenda wins. So the top of R&D doesn't matter, as long as it's just some order. I was making you feel bad at how much I struggle with piling World Triari. That's well, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, it might, like, I guess my response to that is like, are you sure that the issue is you as the pilot, or like, are you just playing against people or decks or like playstyles that are just like tough for World Tree Arasana to deal with? Like I get like my question is like, let's say you pick somebody up who's like, this person is definitely, let's say they're the best World Tree Arasana pilot in the world, and like how much better would they do in that same game where you felt like you struggled? And my answer is like I don't think that different. I mean, obviously, I don't know how you've been playing with it, but, like, it's just, I feel like the deck is like, you know, you're gonna try to install your programs and install your hardware, and you're gonna try to get your world tree down, and you got to make a run every turn. And I think everybody probably understands that. And if you're losing games to people who are icing all their centrals and making your once per run awkward, then like it's going to be awkward for everybody else who's doing that too, right? So I just feel like the power is just in that interaction, and is like the decision of where you run and how you run only plays so much into that analysis. Border control, I guess. We can just end the run 4 times here. So like this, like I can res whatever and it's fine. But this rhyme is like doing hella work. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. This is so funny. This is like hilarious. Like this is like, I just have a bunch of 1 strength barriers. This rhyme is a 0 res, and it has cost my opponent 7 credits. I've resed it for 0, and they've had to pay 7 credits. And I'm about to like Nisei counter them, and they're gonna have to run back. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna border control. Oh, actually, I lied again. We're gonna void. You don't want to use the Nisei because you can Nisei an R&D run, and just want to stop like accesses out of R&D where the other agendas are. I like World Tree Ari, but I don't like the builds that are around. Oh yeah, okay. I like World Tree Ari, but don't like the builds that are around. Okay, yeah, I mean like I can see that like there's probably like different ways of building it. That's a good point. We'll just throw these out. Yeah, I mean, like maybe there's ways of making it more interesting, but I just feel like that basic interaction of like World Tree picking up a card and Ari making it really efficient to install programs, um, like coupled with like Coalescence gaining you money while you install programs, like I think that interaction just in itself is like too good. Hmm. Yeah, and it like and I also feel that like a lot of the times like whether or not you can do something like can I contest this remote or can I do this thing or do that thing, like it just like most of the time it depends on the cards that you have, as in and like the point I'm trying to make is like I enjoy playing runners and of course all of this is like a personal preference, but I enjoy playing runners where um sure they could pinhole the Lacosta, and I would have to spend another turn scoring. Yeah, that's fine. They don't have enough money though, so like I'll spend another turn. That's fine. Um, I should have just Nisei'd that just to keep things simple, probably. Um, but like this is like pinholing a Lacosta to delay a score when you can't get into the remote is a losing line. This is fine. What was I saying? Like I enjoy playing runner decks where you um where you like your game plan is like you have like cards that kind of like all do like similar-ish things and they're all like you can replace certain cards with other cards, so you're flexible and you're consistent, and like World Tree Arsana, I mean, this is just the nature of World Tree as a card, is that oh, why did I like that whole thing about using Nisei? Like, I know that R&D is clear, so that logic just didn't make any sense, actually. It's fine. Um, that whole World Tree makes your deck consistent, so you play a bunch of cards that are just like unique abilities that are all like just really good. Um, I don't know. It's like less appealing to me. Because a lot of the times it's like, oh, like I didn't draw this card, so I can't get in. Oops. you know. We should get a rhyme taxation count. The rhyme has currently cost the runner 10 credits, and it's about to cost them another 2, so it's like 12 credits. Last week I had a game where I opened with decent reg econ and no SMC Muse World Tree showed up for like 8 turns. Yeah. I mean, I had a game against a player, against Dan McCarthy in the top cut of East Coast Nationals, where he, like, I think he opened with the World Tree thing, but he just, like, didn't draw econ. And that was that, really. So he like didn't draw econ, and like so you can't like, and I iced all my servers, so like he had to pay 3 credits if he wanted to make a run. Like it was you had to run through like Saisentan or something. I don't know. It was mainly Saisentans, I think, and it was just not doable. And you kind of have to click for econ because your deck's consistency is dependent on your deck consistency is dependent on the World Tree triggers. So if you can't get your World Tree triggers, or you don't naturally draw econ to enable your World Tree triggers, then you lose your deck's consistency, and then everything becomes miserable. Oh. What is happening here? Are we deep diving? We don't have enough money for deep dive. I don't know. I guess we'll end the run. Okay, they were just checking archives. Okay, fair enough. I mean, like they could have like played running hot and then went credit deep dive. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know they didn't have money for deep dive, but I was like, something can happen. Yeah, that was a fun game. Like this rhyme was like so good. Kevin, click for Jatinho. Yeah, that's true. Click for Jatinho. They have one more. Hey, usually three agendas in your score area is a win against Ag Infusion. So they got 3 agendas in their score area before I got 3 in mine. So there you go. Okay, how are we feeling? We thinking one more? I'm down to play another one. It can be Corp, it can be Runner. Also, like, again, like, if any questions about, like, Nationals, about the decks, about the meta, or whatever, please sound out in the comments, in the chat. Happy to chat, happy to ask, or to answer questions. But yeah, let me know what you want me to do. I'm happy to play the Lat again. I'm happy to play the Egg Infusion again. I'm happy to explore something else if we want to go that way. But yeah, sound off. I'm gonna be right back. So I guess I'll be back in like a minute. I've been drinking this McDonald's vanilla chai iced frappe, which is the best drink at McDonald's. If you haven't had it, go get it. Vanilla chai iced frappe. And it's great. And that's why I've had to use the bathroom a lot. So I'll be right back. Oh, sorry. I didn't mute myself, did I? You heard me coughing. What are my thoughts on Eminent Domain Archer decks? Eminent Domain Archer is a very good combo. It's a very good, I don't know. It's very strong. I think the shells are a little weak that have existed. I think Tuno's Ob that was played in Euros with like Hearts and Minds. I think like Hearts and Minds should never stay on the board, and you should always be able to trash it. And that card was played in that deck, and I think a lot of the success of that deck, a lot of the success in the Eminent Domain Archer Ob builds come from the fact that I think assets are not being trashed when they should. So I think those decks are like seeing more success than they should. So I'll say that, but like I think Eminent Domain Archer is very strong. Personally, like I don't like the fact that like the ways of dealing with that are strong but limited. So what I mean is like most people play like I just feel like icebreakers right now are not very varied. And there's only so many icebreakers people play. And it's like Archer is either like really good against you or it's not that great. Like if you're playing against my deck, like if you're playing against Revolver Lat, then like the Archer's not that good because you break Archer for 4 credits, and then 3 and 4 counters, and then the second time you break it for 4 credits and 3 counters, and the corp gets $2, which is totally fine. So like Archer's not that combo is not very strong against Revolver decks, but then you play against like an Echelon deck, and then like that single Archer is what's going to win you that game because the runner just can't break the Archer because they're playing Echelon and Turbine. But like, you know, sometimes you can Entangler it, and like Entangler is going to cost like 4 credits, and that's very strong for the runner. So I just don't like that. Like it's very polar, and I think that's not ideal for any kind of interaction. But like it's strong. It's just it's a little too deck dependent. It's a little too matchup dependent. Like it would be interesting if you can build a deck where you can be flexible. So like you're up against Revolver, your tax against Revolver is not going to be that good. So when you score Eminent Domain, you're going to get something else, and that something else is going to be like decently good against this deck that's playing Revolver. And I think that just doesn't exist right now, and it'd be interesting to maybe look into deck building something like that. But like as things are, most Eminent Domain decks are like, I'm going to score this and I'm going to get Archer. And that's just unappealing to me because it kind of feels like your deck is kind of going too much in one direction. And if that one direction doesn't work and you can't really pivot, then I don't like that as a feature of a corp deck. Competitively, at least. And you kind of have to, like, you kind of have to find an alternative, I feel, for that Eminent Domain, because like you can't really say, okay, if your Archer's not really going to be that good, then just don't score Eminent Domain. Well, you can't do that because you put 3 Eminent Domains in your deck and it's a 3-1 agenda. Like you have to incorporate that card into your game plan one way or another if you want to play it. If you want to play that. I like this deck. I think I'll play it in our NWE league next. Yeah, ad, very good. Yeah, no, the egg is a fun deck. It's again like it's a very solid deck. You can take your time and like think about like actions and like you can contest people who are playing aggressively, and you can reasonably rush players who are playing too slow, or like decks that are being too slow. Yeah, it's a good balance. Ice Destruction hurts the egg a lot, though. Trankrid is pretty good in Ob. Yeah, Trankrid is great. It's been showing up a fair amount recently, actually. Like I think at Cascadia I saw 2 different Obs playing Trankrid, and Sebastian K's like 74 card end of the line Mad Ob is also on Trankrid. And when I played against Sebastian at East Coast Nationals, he got that installed turn 1 or turn 2, and like searching for it obviously, and it was very strong. I liked it a lot. It's a great one of. Yeah, Trankrid is great. It's a good one to keep in mind. I still don't like how like Agenda Pinata Ob is. This is something that Whiteblade like used to describe it, and I think it describes it so well. Is like Ob just plays so many agendas, and you like your ID thins your deck. So like I just felt like every time my opponent ran R&D, they always stole an agenda, and every time like you play against an Essa or you play against some kind of aggro deck, like your life is just miserable. Get a 4th icebreaker for Echelon, but yeah. But like the thing is, like if you get a 4th icebreaker for Echelon and you have Turbine, what? Yeah, like I guess like you still have to pay 7 credits. You have to pay 3 to boost strength for Archer, and then pay another 4. You still have to pay 7 credits. That's still like decks are still pushing you through that. Serious question. I turn 50 next year. Is it time I retire and leave the Netrunner to the youngsters? No. The answer to that question is always no. You could be turning 80 next year, or 90, or 100, and you should keep playing, and so will I. Yeah, that's what I gotta say. Obviously, that's what I gotta say. To me, it felt very dependent on finding the Eminent. Yeah, the ob decks. It did seem like the power in the deck was like. I mean that's kind of what I was describing, right? Is like you want to open with Rashida, and then you get your Eminent Domain. And if you do that, then you win. And if you don't do that, then like life is tough. Or you want to open with like Maryland Excavator. So like that's like also pretty good. So that's fine, but like Rashida. Let's just get rid of Rashida. I'm looking forward to Dawn. Also, I have a card coming out in Dawn. So looking forward to that too. My main goal against those decks is just steal the Eminent. That's true, like you steal the Eminent, but like I hope you steal them out of Centrals, because if they're like running you through this taxing remote and you're taking 1 point, like it's like you can run out of money doing that. Like if they find 2 Eminent Domains and they make you run their remote twice to steal 2 total points, breaking all this ice, you're probably like, unless your econ is really good or they're not drawing really well, you're probably going to go on to lose that game because you're going to get taxed out of money. Thoughts on Eminent as an alt forfeit in Jemison? Not totally sure what you mean. Like playing Eminent Domain and then forfeiting it for like you want to play like an Eminent Domain Archer deck out of Jemison, so when you res Archer you're gonna get like advancement counters, which is like it's just hard to line up. Like maybe the combination of abilities is enough value, but Archer has existed the whole time that Jemison has existed. No, other way around. Jemison has existed the whole time Archer's existed. But the point is, Archer and Jemison have existed together for a long time. And Hostile Takeover has existed that whole time as well. So, like, and Standoff. So the whole, like, play Archer and Jemison thing isn't, like, that's been tried. And I think you'll likely find that it's very inconsistent, because sometimes when you res that Archer and you forfeit that agenda, you're not necessarily going to have something relevant to advance. But maybe the inclusion of Eminent, like the inclusion of Eminent in that deck probably improves the deck. I don't know if it improves it enough, though. Jackmade saying that Trank Grid off an Ob Trigger gives you the Trank on first install. Does it really? Does it really? I feel like it doesn't. I feel like I've read this. I've looked at this recently, I think. Install and res the card you found, ignoring credit costs. Yeah, it gets installed. No, this doesn't trigger. Trankrid says the first time you install a card in this server. Nah, Jackmate, there's no way. I played against this at Cascadia. Or I don't know if I played against it or if I saw it get played, but I remember distinctly thinking to myself that this doesn't work. And now I've reviewed it, and I also reaffirm my original thinking that this doesn't work. It does work if you ob to install the Trank Grid on your opponent's turn. So you install this, like the the trank definitely doesn't work the turn that the trank itself gets installed. But you could, in theory, like Stavka a 2-cost card and then turn it into a trank grid on the runner's turn and then get a trigger. I'm pretty sure it doesn't work if you do it on your turn. Like, if you were to, like, excavate something. If you were to excavate something and get trank grid, the trank grid shouldn't trigger on that turn. Oh. Wait, what? It triggers on itself. It's one of the rulings on Netrunner DB that it doesn't? Oh, really? It triggers on itself. Install and res the card you found, ignoring credit costs. And this says the first time each turn you... Oh! That makes sense. So the next time there's a checkpoint, this ability is now going to trigger because there wasn't a checkpoint between install and then res. But Trat is saying that there's a conflicting rule in RDB. Alec, how's it going? Oh my god, there's so many rulings in OB. Who designed this? Why is it so complicated? Okay, I can't find it. Tranquility. I don't see a trank in the OB rulings. Is there an OB in the trank rulings? I don't see an OB in the trank rulings. Uh-oh. Oh, if the corp uses an ability to install and res. Here, let me move some of this stuff. If the corp uses an ability to install and res Tranquility Home Grid in a single instruction, such as restore, can they trigger its ability? And the answer is no, even though Tranquility Home Grid's ability will be active by the time of the next checkpoint after its trigger condition was met. When conditional abilities with that trigger condition are marked pending, it still was not active when the trigger condition actually happened, so it will not be marked pending. The install and res is performed in order. I don't know, Jackmaid. I think you gotta. I think you gotta check with who. I think you gotta check with your judges again. That's pretty crazy if you ob for a trank grid and you gain 2 credits. Yeah, that would be. I mean, yeah. I mean, based off my reading of this, it does seem like it doesn't work, but it would be really crazy if you can opt for trank grid and gain 2 credits. That'd be pretty good. Worth looking at for sure if that's the case. Okay, I'm playing another game. This is an old ruling, so it's possible new advances in rules technology may change how the instruction is parsed now. I'm pretty, yeah, and maybe like the rules team just didn't change this, but I'm pretty sure like whenever there's a judge call at an event and I'm nearby, I usually go and like watch because like I want to stay up to date with like rules of the game and stuff. And there was a judge call at Cascadia where Cephalopod Wizard, who is the authority when it comes to rules, he's not, but like he is, okay. And I found it interesting that there was a ruling that was like the question was when if Scorpios, because this was throwback. If Scorpios does net damage, or if like the runner takes net damage, I think they were like taking net damage with Bankar, and the runner was taking net damage with Bankar, and it hit a steel skin. The question was, can you Scorp the steel skin? So now the steel skin is RFG'd instead of trashed, and now the steel skin doesn't trigger anymore. And for those who are interested, I'm pretty sure the answer to that question is... Actually, what was the answer to that question? I think the answer was no. Like, it does still draw you cards. I'm pretty sure it does still draw you cards. Steel skin RFGs and doesn't draw cards? Oh, was that? Okay. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, I just, like, I didn't remember. So, yeah, okay. So the ruling was that steel skin RFGs, the steel skin gets RFG'd, and it doesn't get trashed, so it doesn't draw cards. And the way that Cephalopod Wizard came to that conclusion was because he didn't know off the top of his head. So he went on his phone and looked up Netrunner DB rulings. So he went on Netrunner DB, just like we were doing right now, and like was like, I don't know, like let's take a look at. So he like went and looked up Scorp, and was like, do we have rulings here? And he like read some of these. Now some of these were like bogs, and like he was like, he like puts some credibility on this, because it basically, the way that he was interacting was, the way that he was deciding this was like, the rulings that are on NetRDB should be current, and if it's not, we should be removing them, was the impression that I got. There's a ruling here that says, if an Ivad versus trash damage while the corp is playing Scorpios, does the runner get to draw 3 cards? And the answer was yes. So, again, Alex says that the answer was no, was the ruling, but I don't remember what exactly. I don't personally remember. I'm pretty sure Steelskin says the same thing. Yeah, so I guess what I just showed was counter to what I was trying to say, but I remember him looking through these rulings and like drawing value from it, which was interesting for me to see. I checked with my MDB friends, Yakuza, for example, but don't want to throw shade here. I was sat next to the game being played. I'm pretty sure that was the case. It was Cody versus Jason. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember walking up to that, but I don't remember it all. Yeah, so, but the point is, like, I remember him looking through these and, like, putting weight on him. Although I think it might just be that, like, unverified, like, he was looking at the tags, was like, this is an unverified ruling. But maybe, like, the verified thing means that, like, this is current as of this date, which is 2022, September 10th. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play one more game before I lose my voice. We're gonna play another ag game just for balance. So, I don't know. And if people are like, you would like to see another lat game or see another ag game for that matter, I'm happy to do that. But for now, we're going to play another ag game. Because I've played 2 lat games, we're going to play another ag game. And we'll see how we feel. Because I don't want my voice to go away too much. This is kind of a fine hand. We can go like Hansei Back Pro, Tattoo HQ, and Nancy R&D. I think I don't mind that. We're against Zahya. Yeah, I don't mind that. We're gonna do that. This might be crazy, but like I think it's like, if we're against somebody who's aggressive and we don't open with Econ and 2 ice, the Zahya matchup can be rough. And we drew the board control, which is really good. So let's put this on R&D. Let's put the Tattoo on HQ. And this is fine. Am I coming to Vancouver for the CO next week? No, I'm not, unfortunately. We're getting an archives run. I'm still in Nanaimo, and Fa is coming to visit me for the week. So Fa's going to be here on the weekend. Which actually means maybe we both come to the CO. Wait, is the CO on Saturday or Sunday? If it's on Sunday, we definitely can't, because that's the day where Fa leaves. If it's on Saturday... The thing is, Fa leaves on Sunday, so, like, we'd have to figure out how to make that work. Also, this is funny, because our opponent's going to think they're going to die. Because this is what punitive egg infusion does. But no, I'm just doing this for tempo. Okay, so Rashida's great. So we're going to add that to hand. Lacosta's good to becoming. Void is good. Bran is good. Sprint is good. Okay, so we just want to, like, plan our next few turns here. So I want to have 8 cards in hand. Oh, we boomeranged HQ? Huh, okay. I want to have 8 cards in hand so that we can go Rashida, Border Control, Sysintan Archives. And then we want to have the Anansi in hand. So Rashida, Sysintan in hand, Anansi on top at the very least. But the thing is, we don't want to, like, if we fire Rashida, we're going to have 9 cards. But we might draw a Subliminal or a Hansei. So I think we will just deal with the discard if that comes. So we're going to pick up the Rashida. Actually, no. We actually don't pick up the Rashida. We want to Mando the Rashida. Because if they run HQ and they could trash Rashida, right? So let's pick up the Anansi. Pick up the Sysintan, because that's going to go in Archives. How many more cards do we want? 5, 6, 7. We want 3 more cards. So it's just Bran, Lacosta, and Sprint, I guess. Lacosta and Void, and we'll leave the Sprint on top. Yeah. Okay, so we say done. We're going to go Sprint, Rashida, say done. Okay. No pressure, I was just curious. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I always want to come out to events. And also, by the way, Alec, like you've been like spearheading a lot of discussion about learn to play and growing the community, and I like love that so much. And I like would love to help in any way I can. Like, yeah, I'd love to help in any way I can. It's just that, like, I live in UBC, so it's just like far away for me to like come out to anything. But like, so it's like, it's hard for me to commit to doing that multiple times a week. Sorry, I think we want the Anansi here. But like, yeah, I think what you're doing is amazing. And the other thing is, like, you've a lot of times you've been like, ooh, do I want to double ice this actually? I probably do. Yeah. We could get pinholed. If I put an ice on Archives, we don't get pinholed. But like, we could also like have Boomerang, so this is fine. There's a lot of times where like you've been asking questions about like, would people want to come out to this? Like, do you want to do a lunchtime event? Do you want to do like a weekend event? That kind of stuff. And I hesitate answering that because I don't know how, like, because my life is like very unstable, in this, like, unpredictable is probably the more word, is the better word. Like, I'm going to be in Vancouver for the first semester, and then I'm going to be gone. I'm going to go to Victoria for the second semester. And then I mentioned this at the start of the stream, but I'm going to be in Vancouver for articling for like until the end of July next year. And then starting in August, I'm going to go to Abbotsford, and I've got a firm in Abbotsford that I'm going to be working with. Which means that, like, you know, I don't know like how often I'm going to come out to Vancouver things. Like, I should be able to, because I'm probably going to get a car and like drive out to things, but like I'll be like an hour drive away. How do we do this? We're just gonna cook this. I really want to put the Sicentan on archives, but I feel like they've like set up Poison Vial, which is scary. So we're just gonna put a third ice here. Next turn we're probably gonna like Sicentan archives, credit. Yeah. So that's why I hesitate to answer, because I'm like, I don't know, like I don't want my answer to like carry too much weight, you know, because like I don't want to like be like, this sounds like a great idea, and then like I'm not really gonna show up for it because I'm just not gonna be here. Subliminal, Sicentan, credit. I could advance this. And then next time we go advance, install 2 cards. We can also play the sprint. There's no need to play the sprint though. We could draw Hansei and stuff. No, let's advance this. That's fine. Come in when you're hopefully able to run a Mega City. Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, Saturday, I don't know. I'll talk to Fa about it. And we'll see if we can make it work. Currently, we have stuff booked. Ooh, which sentry is firing? This one. Okay. Rhyme, Lacosta, Charlotte, Nice, Void. Okay. Okay, so we just want like the Nice on the bottom. And then the Lacosta's the next worst one. And then the Void coming up is good to know. And we want the Charlotte on top, so we'll go like this. And we won't draw. What was I saying? Yeah, Fa and I have a place, like we're gonna rent a car, and we have an Airbnb booked, and we're gonna like explore Vancouver Island. I don't know how much exploring we'll do, but like we have this place in Mill Bay, which will serve as like a nice like base of operations for us to drive to places. And we're gonna be there for 4 nights. So maybe I could change it to be 3 nights, and then we can come to Vancouver on Saturday. But like we just have to figure out like either accommodation on Saturday night or coming back to Nanaimo Saturday night, which I think is not happening. So like probably accommodation Saturday night, if we want to make that happen. Maybe, but unlikely. Okay, if I go advance score. If I go advanced score, they bounce one of the ice here, and then I reinstall it and install Charlotte. And if they bounce my Bran, that's fine. So let's do that. So if they bounce a remote ice, then we're going to go install Charlotte, install Void. Wow. They had bounced the Tattoo? That's crazy. Well done. Okay. Okay. Well done. Very well done. What do I do in that case? Could just install advance. And then you just boop them to the Anansi. Like, that's still very strong. Yeah, that's fine. Well done. You found it. That's the good one. If they want to contest it, they're going to have to run and get booped into Anansi. Installing Revolver is going to help a lot. That... Sure. I'll res this so it doesn't get bounced by Hermes if they steal an agenda off the top. Also, I found out recently through the Vancouver Discord that y'all used to play at the curry shop at the law courts. I don't know what curry shop you're talking about, but there's a curry shop at the law courts that you used to play Netrunner at lunchtime. And if I, like, I don't know, if I worked as a lawyer in downtown Vancouver and could spend my lunches, like, showing up at a curry shop and meeting up with people playing Netrunner, like, that's amazing. That's so good. Okay, so we have this Kurupira, which means I don't actually want this Tattoo. So I think we're just, like, installing this Void and, like, clicking for credits, really. Because this Tattoo's not going to do much. The Rhyme is, like, actually good. So let's do this. Let's put the Rhyme up. And let's take a credit, I think. Ooh, we should think about this Anansi. I drew this. I drew Void. I drew Rhyme. So Nisei's going to come to hand, I think, is how that's working. I should just play this Sprint, actually. Okay, hang on. Hang on, we're going to play this Sprint. And we can shuffle these two cards away. The Nisei and the Lacosta away, and then we can Hansei the Void. No. We're gonna shuffle the Nisei and the Void away. That's, yeah, that makes sense. That was what I was clicking initially, and I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense, but actually it does. And then we're gonna take a credit, and then next turn we're gonna go install advance, install Rhyme, I think. Yeah. We want to keep cards in our hand just in case they, like, run HQ, and we want to make sure the odds on HQ are as bad as possible, are as diluted as possible, which is why I don't want to spend my last click installing Rhyme or installing Void, even though it'll improve my remote. But I don't think we need to improve our remote because we have this Bran on there already. So, like, Rhyme, Bran border with the Nisei counter should be good enough. Subliminal is really good. Let's Lacosta. Let's Charlotte. This is good. Gain 3 is good. We go install, advance. Maybe we just void, actually, instead of rhyme. Yeah, that's much safer. Much, much, much safer. It also makes more sense because of Hermes. Because if I install a third ice on here, like an ice that on the remote that gets bounced by Hermes is costing me an install cost, whereas void doesn't have an install cost. So void is definitely better. Yeah, the curry place doesn't exist anymore. It became a COVID victim. Yeah. Sad. Sad. Inside job. Oh. Just double checking that you are intending to take 3 net. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Boomerang. Okay, so now you can break it with Poison Vial, but I have no agendas in hand. Which is like how you need to play this deck, is like usually when you score the first agenda, there's another agenda in hand. But when you score the second and the third agenda, there's usually no agendas in hand. And that's what the sprints do for you. And that's like, it helps you sculpt your hand really, really well. And I really like that about the sprints. I think advance twice score, reinstall the ice somewhere is fine. Yeah, we just straight reinstall that. I could install Slicentan first. Or like, no, we're just being too complicated. We just reinstall that. The rhyme, we probably just throw out one of these. We don't want tattoos because the Kurupira is there. So we want to just like, because we have a brand on the board, we don't want to let them get Kurupira counters. Okay. Boomerang, draw, buy bends, it's fine. The buy bends is like not like this run is like very negative, like very like resource negative for the runner. And like the buy bends is like not gaining them too much. No. It's fine. Maybe this like gives away too much that I have nothing in hand, but like that doesn't matter because I'm in too commanding of a spot. Yeah. I could stop it. And like it prevents them from gaining 2 credits off Zahya. And what did they do? They drew 2 and installed a card, so they like went through their deck a little bit more. Yeah. There might be enough value there, but like the Nisei counters are just worth so much. Another boomerang on R&D this time. Back onto HQ. Whoa. Pre-install. Okay, so we do want to advance this in case it's... Can I get a 5-3? No. We can get a Rashida, though. I don't know if I want a Rashida. Do I? Guess I do. Okay. We'll put a Sison down on R&D is fine. Stack up on sentries. They got Poison Vial, so it's like they can get use out of their revolvers. That's assuming they have another Poison Vial, that is. We also found out they play Inside Job, but they did discard it. But Inside Job is like good on the remote here. But they have to like get enough money to like do all that, which is a lot, because they have to Inside Job and then pay to break the border control, which is another 2 credits. And they started the turn on 1 and a Mamie counter, so they'd have to click for 2 and then do that run. In which case, I'd probably just void it. Okay, so we run a small risk of drawing multiple agendas here, which is okay. There we go. So go install, advance. Might as well hedge fund, just so we can res all our ice. This can go, and this can go. Inside Job in the remote gives me the option of booping them into a Nazi. It does, yeah. But like, it does. I don't know how valuable their cards are in their hand is, right? Like, we've gone through so much that I don't think their cards in their hand are that good. So like, yeah, they take 3 net damage, but like, I lose a piece of ice on this remote, which is like, both of the ice on the remote is really good right now. And like, losing the Bran is not an option, because it's just like, the Bran is just too good. The Bran is just too good, and it costs them way too much money. And if we boop them with the border control, we've now lost the positioning of the Bran and the border. So yes, we have another border, but if we put the border on top of the Bran, then it's much worse than the situation we have now. Because we would have to res the border, and then they get to break the border before they get to the Bran, which means they're going to get Career Hero counters, which probably doesn't matter, but like, very small consideration. Whereas with the current setup, like, we res Bran, they break Bran, and then we can res border and pop it immediately, and we don't let them spend 2 credits for a Career Hero counter. Oh man, I think I like burned my mouth. I burned my mouth eating breakfast this morning, and like, now it hurts. Yeah. Okay. How are we feeling? I feel like I'm gonna call things here. But yeah, let me know if there's more questions, or if there's something that they'd like me to talk about. Give it a few minutes, and then I'm probably done with games. Yeah, give my voice a bit of a break, and do some cleaning. Not that I enjoy that, but I don't know, it's a thing I need to do. Face check without a gun kind of did me in, huh? Face check without a gun. Yeah. Sometimes when Crib doesn't have money, like they got these bravados and they want to play them, so you end up having to take net damage. That's how it goes. Low on credit. Crim can be put in a tough spot when you're low on credits and you want to play Bravado to gain money, but Jinteki has ice installed. Oh yeah, I fed them a back pro turn 1. That's right. Yeah, I kept an opening hand of Hansei, Anansi, Tatu, back pro, Nisei this game. And then I Hansei'd the back pro and went Anansi, Tatu. That worked out well. They didn't touch another agenda after that. Cause what? Like I went down to 2 cards and then back pro picked up 6. No, back pro picked up 5. And then like I was able to run away with Rashida the next turn. When the engine is going and ice is easy-ish to get through, it feels like this deck is so good, and then sometimes you run into a spider. I'll let them finish their thought before I check out of that one. Okay. They didn't let me respond. But yeah, likewise. See you around. Okay. That just about does it for the stream, I think. Yeah, check out my deck list, check out my write-ups. I talk about things on there, and yeah, feel free to write. Like for those who watch not live, as I know lots of people do, feel free to like comment on the YouTube video, and I usually will get to those, or comment on the deck list. I think normally sometimes I have to like remember to check my YouTube comments, whereas Netrunner DB sends you an email when you get a comment. So if you want a faster response from me, you can comment on the deck list, and I'll probably respond faster. But yeah, I do check them. I think, like, for me, I'm kind of just like waiting for the ban list update and seeing how things go. And we'll figure it out from there. Oh, one more thing. I need to show the beanstalk, because Augustus is out here. Okay. How do I move myself out of the way? Okay. Augustus is out here staying on top of me. And that's not okay. Okay. He's doing great, obviously. And I've like ABR was down for a long time, so this wasn't updating, and ABR waited until Augustus won German nationals, and now he's got 100 more beans than me. That's just not acceptable. So yeah, we're gonna have to perform well at Worlds. I mean, not for this reason, but like I'm gonna want to perform well at Worlds anyways. We're gonna try to get that 3-peat. But the bean situation is just he just keeps staying on top of me, and I can't. I think Worlds is like probably the next tournament. I could see, thinking about the CO on Saturday. maybe we go to the CO on Saturday, you know, and pick myself up a couple more beans. That might be the reason we go. Just thinking out loud. Great stream. Hope to see you next week. Have a great visit with Fa. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we'll talk about it. If we find accommodation and if she wants to go. But like, the thing is like, the thing about our relationship is like it's so like it's long distance, and like we haven't seen each other in 3 months. So like if every like 2-3 months we like get a week together, like we'll probably keep to ourselves, but we'll see. I don't know though. I mean, with that said, like Netrunner is what brought us together. So coming out to a Netrunner event on on one of the days out of the 6 that we get to see each other seems like giving back to the community. So I don't know. I'll talk to her and we'll see it. I get it. My wife and I were long distance for a year. Yeah. Dave was telling me about that too. About how he and his wife started as long distance. No, I don't think it started, but it was later on. Dave doesn't know that we're gonna go to Victoria yet. When I go to Victoria, we're definitely gonna go visit Dave, and we're gonna try to hit up the Victoria Netrunner players. Because we're gonna be like driving in and out of Victoria because Fa has some high school friends there. So we will be there, and maybe we'll give Dave a little bit of a surprise. He'll be really excited to see the both of us. It's a lot of beans. It is. We're doing well. Although Augustus is climbing, because Augustus has played in all of the Continentals, and has done very well in all of them. So he's gotten Augustus has so many events this year that just aren't counting. Whereas I don't have any. So in the overall leaderboard, Augustus is gaining. He's like, this guy, if he keeps playing at the level that he is and keeps doing as well, he'll be way up there in the overall leaderboards real soon. All right. Yeah, that's all. Thank you all for watching. And thank you for watching the video. Good morning. Yeah, you are late. I'm sorry. We've been going for 3.5 hours, and my voice I'm starting to lose it. My voice. So, and I don't want to lose it too much. But I was complaining about Augustus doing too well at tournaments and staying on top of my beans. Yeah, you need to stop Augustus for me, because somebody's got to stop Augustus, and he's over there and I'm over here, and I'm too far away. I can't do it. All right, friends. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I'll see y'all next time.